The best part about that episode was that there was no Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda took the episode off,
and it was fun. Yeah, it was fun. And you know what? Props to them for having the balls to do an episode without, the Baby Yoda.
They must have got your letters.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, I came a long way, Jed. I came a long way from Baby Yoda hater to I've seen every episode of The Mandalorian. I'm caught up with everybody else. We'll
have to update the opening clip for the show.
Just just do a bad dub, like where it's like, can I say like baby, like just dub in I love Baby Yoda, but do it in your own voice,
Yeah. Welcome. You have now tuned in to the Blackout and Shout podcast with your host, Mike Kincaid.
Can I tell you that I love Baby Yoda? I love him so much. He's so awesome.
That's because you haven't watched The Mandalorian.
Oh, look at Baby Yoda, so cute.
Levy Curry.
Some people do all sorts of crazy stuff, like dinosaur romance novels. Those are really a thing. Taken by the T-Rex. A billionaire dinosaur forced me, ravaged by the raptors.
I wonder if there's audiobooks of them.
And Jed Vargo.
He was always well known for wearing the Nazi outfit on.
Captain Kangaroo?
Captain Kangaroo.
Didn't he have the...
No. And he did not dress up as a Nazi either.
So sit back. Mike, are you... Listen to me. Relax. Say, transform and roll out. And enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Blackout and Shout podcast. This is episode 109. And we have kind of a skeleton crew tonight, which is when you only have a 3-person cast.
It's the B team.
Yeah, it's the B. Yeah, it is the B team.
It's the bidet bros.
This podcast has the cleanest asses out of all. We're number one in two things: in Beast Wars and clean asses. I like when somebody calls me while I'm on the toilet and they ask me, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I love telling them.
It kind of makes that Jerky Boy skit, null and void. You washing your ass, keeping it clean, Pablo.
Keeping clean, Pablo. you bastard, you. Yep, always on the fire hose setting.
I'm always afraid that'll draw blood if I turn it all the way up.
I just dive in, so to speak. Well, now that we got that out of the way, so we are sans Levy tonight. Levy has to work early.
Yeah, sure he
tomorrow.
Does. Yeah. Levy's on vacation. He's actually climbing Mount Everest right now for his Christmas vacation. So he's watching The Mandalorian at this moment. So he's not working, and I don't believe he has to work tomorrow either. I think he just wanted to take a week off.
Yeah, right.
Because on Tuesday, he was like, "Oh, I can't wait for my vacation this weekend, and I'll be playing video games all weekend." And I'm like, "All right. I thought you had to work." He's like, "Oh, no, that was Friday night after work." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So there's a little bit of mistranslation of information I think he's feeding us.
Yeah. And we'll know if he listens to this shit because he'll call us out on us talking all kinds of shit.
Yeah. I already called him out on Facebook. I was like, I thought you had to work. Yeah. He's like, "That's tomorrow morning." I said, "I thought you had a vacation tomorrow morning."
we should like a 48 hours or like Beverly Hills Cop type of thing, like stake him out tomorrow morning. Let's ask him what time his shift is, and if he says it's at 7, let's go to Dunkin' and grab some donuts and coffee and go to his house by 6 a.m. Like we'll meet up there, and let's just stake him out.
I have the extra long telephoto lens, outside the car, just taking pictures of him through the window in his underwear, scratching his ass.
We'll mail him black and whites in like a yellow manila envelope, like unmarked.
Had to work, huh? Oh shit.
This motherfucker just got fired off a podcast he didn't get paid for in the first place.
A likely story, Levy.
Shit. So now that we crushed Levy, Jed.
There was one thing I wanted to mention to you that I don't know if you ever realized before or not, but so this guy Joe plays Dungeons and Dragons with us, right? And we have Levy's character. He's like slowly becoming, kind of odd and you're not really sure. But Joe goes, "Oh, this is great." He's like, he goes, even Levy's name, you can respell it as evil with the same letters.
Oh, yeah, you
can. So I was like, I never thought of that. So Levy is evil.
What's the name? What's the name for that when you can rearrange the letters?
That's a good question. Because you know what? Because I didn't plan to look that up. But yes, there is a word for that.
So Jed, you're sitting across from me on this virtual podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Jed Vargo. Jed, how are you?
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm doing good. Yeah. Now I'm pissed. I'm mad. I'm angry. I don't know. I'm feeling fine. I'm drinking coffee. I took a nap. It was such a weird day today. I was like, I went to bed late because I wanted to watch The Mandalorian when it first dropped at 3, and then I was up for like a little while. I didn't get to bed till like 5, and then the wife wakes me up at 7, and then I couldn't get back to sleep again because I had this crazy nightmare that I was like trapped in an abandoned church, and these shadow gnomes with battle axes were trying to get me and shit, like fucking gremlins and stuff. And like I actually woke myself up like screaming, "No!" And I was like, "Oh man." So I couldn't get back to bed. So then I was like working, and then I was like, I gotta take a nap. So I went, took a nap from like 12 to 5. So I slept like 5 hours.
That's not really a nap anymore at 5 hours.
No, it's like a shift.
Yeah. Right.
So Lori's like, "Are you gonna wake up at all? Are you gonna do the podcast?" I'm like, "Huh? What?" Yeah. And then I was like, so I woke up and I've only been up for a couple hours, and I had some coffee, and now I'm either awake now or half asleep, or I don't know. I'm just kind of like in this in between mode. But so that's I'm doing good and bad. Oh, and my back hurts too from freaking shoveling all that goddamn snow last night.
Yeah, that was a motherfucker, man.
I think I got like 18 inches. I think it was. I measured it out. It was crazy.
Yeah, we didn't get as much as they said. We down here didn't get as much as they said we were going to get. I think we got like 9 or 10.
Yeah,
but it was still enough.
I'm like at 1,800. I think at 1,800 feet I'm up, or 2,000 feet on the mountain. So I always usually get more snow up here than they do downtown. You get more snow and more Trumpers. No, I think that's about equal. By the way, it's an anagram. Anagram. That's it. Yeah. So Levy's anagram is evil. Right. Evil Levy. That's a name of a Dio album, isn't it? Ooh, I don't know. Maybe. Sounds like it would be. Yeah. Do you want to know what I got? Yeah, let's just go right through that. Let's go through all. What did you get this last 2 weeks? Today I got the Toka and Razor NECA figures from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Secret of the Ooze movie. Yeah. And those are really cool, but what was really awesome about them is I think this is the first time I ever got anything directly from NECA, and they sent it in like this plastic, like air inflated like packaging, so that it was like, cushioned, but it was like you took, it was like a lid on it, like you opened it up like a cooler and you pulled it out, and it was like, form fitted and all that shit. And each one of them, I got 2 of them, one for myself, one for Nate. They were both in like each of those individual packages, and I'm like, wow, that's probably the best packaging I've ever seen, when it comes to like padding and stuff. As opposed to when you get Earthrise figures from Amazon and they just stick the fucking label right on the side of the box. Right. Exactly. They actually did that to one of my wife's Christmas presents. It was, just sitting on the porch with a label slapped on the side of the box. Yeah. One of those magic bullet blender thingies.
Oh, wow! You had me at Magic Bullet.
Yeah.
Oh,
But yeah, so I got those. Those were pretty cool. I think that's all I really got lately. I've been kind of taking it real light with the buying. I know I got I got a notification from Hasbro Pulse for 5 Cobra Commanders coming in the mail, and I'm like, why are there 5 Cobra Commanders coming in the mail? It's the variant, like the light blue variant. And I'm like, I'm just trying to, and I was trying to put the math together, like why there's 5 of them. And then I kind of remember there was like 2 for Alan, 2 for me, and then I think 1 for brother Kyle. So I don't know. I think I might have to sell one of those. I think I might have ordered one too many.
yeah.
And then we are having like this problem with FedEx lately. I ordered my daughter's bike for Christmas, and it's been sitting at the sorting facility for like 2 weeks now, and they've been like giving us the fucking runaround and shit. So I gotta see if I could do something about that. They won't let us like go there to get it either. They're like, oh, we don't have the staff for that.
Yeah, that's going around, man, because Vanessa has a package that's been sitting at the Lehigh Valley Distribution Center, or USPS, for like a month now, or maybe over a month. And she pulled up pictures. I can't remember what source where she saw them or whatever, but they were like pictures of the post office warehouse, and it looks like trucks just came in and just dumped packages out, and they're just laying in this fucking giant pile. And it's like, it's overwhelming to look at, because you can't even imagine, like, you know, if my package is in there, like it's gonna be a long time before I see it, man.
Yeah. Well, the fucked up part is that I got the FedEx. I got the Toka Razor from FedEx today.
Yeah.
And it was in that sorting facility, so it was there. They were just like, it's like, do they just not want to lift the bike because it's too heavy, maybe, or I don't know. It's just like one of those weird things. And I opened like an investigation ticket on it, and I think I might have to like just run out and get another bike, like, down at the store, and if that one comes, then take it back.
Return it. Yeah.
Yeah. If so, but
I've been very lucky.
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't had anything hung up.
Yeah, this is the first one that's been like hung up for a while. Everything else,
I mean, for that long, like the Astro Train, my Astro Train was hung up, but it was only for like an extra like 5 or 6 days, which is no big deal.
Yeah, and I ordered this back on Black Friday, so that's how long ago it was that I put the order. Yeah. So so fuck you FedEx, and fuck you John Bailey. Shout out to all our listeners and everybody that subscribes to us on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. And if you guys want to leave some comments or reviews for us, that'd be kind of cool too. We're on all the different social media sites and podcast sites like Podbean and YouTube and all over the place. So that'd be cool. And you know what else I got Half-Life Alyx, and that's the first time I played that in like, I played it like once for like 5 minutes, but I like actually got into it like a couple of days ago, and that's a fantastic VR game. It's like so good.
I think you mentioned that the other day when I was talking about getting the Oculus Half-Life Alyx.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. And it's like one of those games that takes place between Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2, I think. But you don't really have to know the story to enjoy the game. And if you want to know the story, I mean, you could just go on YouTube and there's like a 10-minute video that kind of catches you up on the plot. So it's not that deep diving of a thing, but it's a really good game because they developed it specifically for VR, and it's like really, really like looking like really good, like high resolution, detailed, and all the mechanics of the game like work really well. Like you have to, when you shoot your gun, you have to push a button and the clip drops out, and you have to like reach over your shoulder to pull a new clip out, and you have to slap it in. But then you also have to pull the chamber back to load the first bullet in. Yeah. So it's kind of detailed like that. It's really cool. I really digging it a lot. And that's it for me, man. How about you?
Yeah, I had a interesting couple of weeks. Mom has COVID, mom and Dennis, so they're still recovering from that. She actually went a couple days with her fever staying down, like her temperature being normal.
That's good.
But now it's back up again, just barely over 100. So they're still kind of just, quarantining and fighting that. I think she said that if they had a fever for like 10 days or more, then they would actually like start with some kind of medication or something. But
yeah,
she thought she was going to be able to get by without that, but now she kind of got a little bit of a fever back again. So they're, man, when she told me the first day when she had it, I was like, dude, like, because we've seen it, with like Levy, man, it kicked his fucking ass, dude. And then it's like, man, my mom's 60, what the fuck is she, 67, and Dennis is in his 70s, 71 or 72 or something. So I'm like, I was kind of worried, but on the flip side, I'm like, they're both very active and very healthy and all that kind of stuff. So they had that going for them. So it's been kind of, it hasn't completely it hasn't got him to the point where they had to go to the hospital, but it's nagging at this point. I mean, Dennis has been sick since the 2nd, I think. And mom since like the 6th or the 7th, whatever, 2 Sundays ago, whatever that would have been. So she's coming up on 2 weeks. So it's just kind of hanging around. So most likely won't see them for Christmas, unfortunately.
Right. Doing the whole quarantine thing from everybody.
Yeah. I'm just glad they've been able to just do it at home, and not have to go to the hospital. So,
right.
Yeah, so there's that. Let's see, I haven't gotten laid in like a month now. That's kind of getting rough, man. And
what was that movie? What's his name? Josh Hartnett was in that one movie where he had to be absent for like, I think, a month or something.
Yeah,
and he was like flipping out and freaking out, and he's like, almost fucked the wall socket.
Well, I remember it, but I don't know if I ever saw it. But you remember the premise? Like, was he allowed to masturbate or just not? He just
no.
Oh well.
No.
I've been fucking my hand and my penis have become well acquainted over the last 4 weeks.
They become one.
They've become yeah. They're kind of like topspin and twin twist at this point. Like when one, like if I stab myself in the hand with a knife at work, like my penis feels it. So and then she's like, after she goes, well, when you guys get done with the podcast tonight, she's like, I'm gonna try on some of the, she bought a bunch of like gold stuff, gold dresses and this and that and these tight jeans. I'll try some of this shit on for you. And it's like, oh yeah, great fucking idea. I'm not gonna tell her not to. Don't want to see it. So I'll just watch and then I'll find a nook or cranny at a house and yank one out and it starts like affecting you mentally, man, because it's been a while. Like the last time I went this long without getting laid was when I was married. So
yeah, flashbacks, huh?
I'm telling you. Yeah, that's what I told her. I was like, yeah, man. I'm like, I'm not getting laid. I'm fucking cleaning up after you. I'm like, it's like being fucking married again.
I'm sure she appreciated that.
Yeah, we laugh about it, but so I had jury duty also this morning.
Oh. Did you go?
And thankfully, I did go. Yeah. Well, I kind of they had me by the nuts on that one. I kind of had to go. So I went. It was just like the selection process, and and it was Lehigh County. So I did, thankfully, because last time I had to go to Philly. This time it was in Allentown, which was nicer. But then I get there and they start explaining it, and here it's not like one of these. Oh, you're gonna have a trial and be here for fucking 3 or 4 days. It was like the grand jury. It was like a grand jury selection.
Oh.
And so if I would have got selected, I would have had to go to Norristown 1 week a month for the next 18 to 24 fucking months.
Yeah.
And thank God I haven't gotten a haircut since March because you can't wear a hat. You're not allowed to wear a hat in there.
Right.
So I took my fucking hat off and I took my hoodie off and I took my hat off. So I had all my tats hanging out and I looked like Sideshow fucking Bob. Like if Sideshow Bob was a convict, which he was. And, and then they like, I basically told like, because they asked if there was any reason why, you wouldn't be able to do it. And it's like, well, if I got, a 3-day case or some shit or a week-long case and had to miss out on getting paid for a week, like, that's all fine and good. But like, dude, I can't do 1 week a month. Are you fucking kidding me, man? I mean, that's not how I said it to the judge, but I told him that. And then there was another question they asked about, like, if you work in some sort of like manufacturing and you had like 40 or less employees. And I was under the impression that the print shop is I guess is manufacturing. So I'm like, yeah, we got 4 employees. So I went up and I told him, he's like, what's going on there? And I said, well, I was like, my boss is like, just tell them you're a racist or some shit. And I'm like, no, I told them that you're a crazy asshole. And if I was gone for 1 week a month for 18 to 24 months, you were going to lose your fucking mind. And he like, I'm the only person in the shop that can actually talk to him like that and get away with it. He actually laughed at it. But yeah, long story short, I got out of that. So that's good. Yeah. I wouldn't have minded.
Did they make you wear the clear face shield?
No, I just had to wear I have a gaiter that I wear.
Oh.
So
when we went into the courtroom in Pottsville, we had to swap out our masks for like clear face shields in the front so they could see our face. Yeah. And you had to fill out that questionnaire on the clipboard.
Yeah, I didn't have to do any of it. We did all that shit. When did you do this? When was this?
That wasn't too long ago. That was a couple months ago. I was on jury duty.
Yeah, they had us. You know what? I don't even remember I filled out a real basic questionnaire like online, like, are you in the service? Are you over 75 years old? Are you this? Are you that? Whatever, any medical conditions that won't allow you to wear a mask and blah, blah, blah. Like I filled all that shit out. But then when we got, because I remember when I went to the one in Philly, I brought my iPad. I was sitting here reading comic books in in the courtroom, because when I went to Philly, like I sat there like an asshole. It was like I was at the DMV, and hours, dude. Thankfully, I had an iPad at that point too when I was reading some books. But yeah, I brought it with me today. But I only made it through like a book and a half before we got down to business. So I was pretty much in there at 8:30, out of there by like 10:30. Nice. And then I fucked around, and then I went back to. I didn't go back to work until lunchtime because I knew today was our Christmas lunch. And we went to Copperhead and had lunch, and then I came home. So I had to I worked for like 15 minutes and got paid for the day. So that was nice. But Jesus, yeah, grand jury, yeah, they're like, and they're all trying to paint like a pretty picture. Oh, people that have been on the grand jury have said it's been a very interesting, informative experience. It's been a good experience for them, and this and that. And I'm like, no, a good experience for me is going to work Monday through fucking Friday. 8:30 to 5 o'clock in Allentown and coming the fuck home afterwards and doing what I want to, like, I don't, I wouldn't have minded doing, like I said, I wouldn't have minded doing it for a week, even if it was in Philly, like, but dude, when he said that the length of time that it was going to go on and how often, nah, I'm good, dude. Get some fucking old
that's crazy.
Get some old fucks, some old retired fucks or some shit,
Right.
But, yeah, so yeah, that was my adventures over the past couple weeks. So okay, get ready to laugh, Jed. So first of all, well, actually you're gonna laugh twice. I bought 3 eggs. I bought three three of the extra box eggs. I had one of those like one of them Zen moments and shit where I was like, because I was gonna get 1 egg, and then I was gonna get maybe 2 of the Earthrise Quintessons because I thought they looked pretty good as like the henchman Quintessons and shit.
Right.
And like it was closing in on Christmas time, and the way my mind works is completely whacked out. But like my Uncle Lenny passed away earlier this year, and he was the one that kind of got me into comic books like back when I was a little pip, and like. I just started thinking about him, and like I had this stack of comics that he was actually reading at the time that he passed and stuff. He was reading this comic called Victorian, I think it's called. And I was like looking at him on the table, and I had this whole like this life, this YOLO moment, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, why I'm just gonna go buy the fucking 3 eggs like Uncle Lenny would have bought 3 fucking eggs. You know what I mean? Because what's the and then I got the well, it was between Uncle Lenny talking to me from beyond the grave, telling me to buy the eggs, and then also my sponsorship discount that took a little bit of the sting out of it. And I'm like, yeah, fuck it, man. So yeah, so I got 3 eggs. So now I got my three quintessons.
Three eggs does not a Unicron make.
Almost. Like, man, like what are they're $1.75 times 3? What times 2 is 350. So it would have been 525. And the Unicron was what, 570 or was that 670? No, 570. It was 570, but then with the shipping. Close. So yeah, so fucking 3. And I'm gonna tell you something. So I got the 3 of them because I didn't want to walk by my, I got all these my MPs, and then I'm gonna walk by my Quintesson shelf, and it's gonna have a couple of fucking Earthrise motherfuckers in there. Nah. So I, not to talk down on anybody that collects the Earthrise, but you know what? I don't have any kids. I used condoms and I pulled out. So now I have the money to buy fucking MPs and like maybe don't.
Like, what's that smell? What's that stank? Oh, it's the chug.
It's that main line stank. Oh man, yeah. So yeah, and I sent you that picture, by the way. The 3 you saw the picture, so I'm not going to say it on here because I won't have it done by the time this episode drops. But when we're done recording, I got to tell you about a great t-shirt design idea I have.
I thought of a really good 3D idea. I got to tell you about that too. I'm not going to tell it on the podcast. So, because I don't want anybody to steal my idea, because I looked around, nobody did it yet.
Yeah, mine, the one that I came up, I was actually surprised that nobody did it, because the way it all came together, it felt like something like, oh, that's funny. And then you go online and there's like 5 different versions of it already done. But like Tony, my drummer Tony actually came up with a fucking great one, dude. But then I Googled it because it was too good, and I Googled it, and it was like a couple different versions, and then none of them are like awesome. So I guess I could do my own, but he was talking about doing the FedEx as FetX and doing it in like Boba Fett colors and kind of tying in, some sort of graphic or whatever. And then I'm like, oh man, that's fucking money. And then I Googled it, and it was definitely money. It was somebody else's money. Mm-hmm. So, but my idea that I had to actually Google it, and I was really surprised because it just, I don't know, it all kind of made sense that somebody would have did it, but nobody did it yet that I could find. So I started working on it a couple days ago. But anyway,
what was the most popular one that you thought of that there was like 1,000 of them? Was it the Ninja Turtles or whatever it was that one?
Well, there was that one, but I'm actually still thinking about doing that one, because the one, like, if I see one and it's good, like, and I'm not talking like it's got to be awesome, just like, it's a decent quality one and it's actual t-shirt design. But if if I come up with an idea and I Google it, and the only thing that comes up is some fucking piece of shit sketch, like on a piece of loose leaf, yellow fucking school book loose leaf or some shit. Well, no, fuck you. Then I'm doing it, because I'll do it good. But so it's kind of like there's like a fine line in between, like, because I was thinking about doing a bunch of like weed shirts, like based on cartoon characters, and I was like going to do Drugs Bunny and like Elmer Bud and shit like that. And then I started looking them up, and the motherfuckers already had those. I'm like, Jesus, dude.
That shit was done in the 70s.
Yeah, it probably was, man. It probably was. I'm sitting on one, and I'll say it on the show because I don't even give a fuck. Because if somebody really wants to steal this idea, like, fuck them, you can have it. But I was going to do Voltron, but he was going to, but like it would be Voltron if you made all of Green Lions, and instead of his wings, he'd have pot leaf wings and shit on the back or whatever. Rather, that was kind of funny. Like, it's one of those ones I don't mind saying on here because I don't know if I'm ever actually going to do it, but maybe I will one day because it's all Green Lions is funny to me. That's
the type of stuff that, like, like pot smokers in high school have been scribbling on their notebooks for fucking like since
And now I'm like, I'll put it on my website and sell 3 t-shirts. That's great. But so I don't really have a whole hell of a lot of shout outs outside of like this will be our last episode before Christmas. So for everybody listening out there, have a happy holiday, a Merry Christmas, whatever the fuck it is that you guys celebrate. And hopefully everybody does it safe. And like, listen, like, real talk, we are in the 4th quarter of this coronavirus shit. There's vaccines going out. like, let's everybody just relax and have our Christmas over Zoom or whatever it is. And everybody's going to see their fucking family next year. Because I know a lot of people personally that are violating this whole thing, like that got together with their whole fucking extended families on Thanksgiving and know they're going to like, just everybody relax, man. We're in the fourth quarter. So I just hope everybody takes it easy.
Yeah. Problem
with the
is
numbers
that
rising.
People don't understand is that once you get the vaccine that, you still have to wear a mask and that type of shit's you're not going to really see anything take effect until probably the summer. So we have a long winter or spring ahead of us. Yeah,
because it won't be like, we won't be able to like really like congregate and go to like concerts and conventions and all that kind of shit until everybody has either A, gotten the vaccine, or B, had the chance to get the vaccine. Because like if you get the chance to get the vaccine and you're like, nah, I'm not having that shit, like, well then fuck you then, then people that get the vaccine will be all right, and fuck you,
I don't expect like you or I to be offered that till probably like, spring.
Yeah, it's going to be for us. It's going to be a while. Yeah,
everybody else is going to get that. I think we're like last in line next to like the 30-year-old people.
Yeah, and you know what? Rightfully so. You know what I mean? The health, like people in the health industry, like the doctors, nurses, all the first responders, like they absolutely should get that shit first, and followed closely behind by older people. You know what I mean? Older people with like I have no problem getting it last. I'm totally cool with that. And it's like I think like we'd be fine even without it. I was never really worried over this whole stretch about getting the virus myself because I felt like I don't have any health problems. I'm in good shape. I'm young-ish. Like I was worried about getting it and giving it to somebody that couldn't handle it. Like my parents or whatever.
Right.
So
yeah, they should move definitely to like all the nursing homes and assisted center next after like the first line, healthcare workers and responders and stuff like that. I'm assuming that's what they're going to do anyway. So
yeah,
I'm more worried about there's like other countries that won't be able to get it, because they don't either have the money or, it's kind of like one of those weird situations for them. But yeah,
it's sad, man. And I mean, there's nothing that we personally can do about it, but it's a bummer to think about that, like, I don't know, like, it's not like survival of the fittest, it's survival of like, I have money and you don't, and
I guess it depends on their government and how they coordinated all that.
Yeah.
So, but hopefully everybody who listens to us outside the United States, you guys can get that and everyone stays healthy and safe. And self-quarantine if you can. Just get through it.
My drummer Sony from AD, he actually said something. He had it was a funny meme that he put up. I don't even think he put it up. I think he put it up somewhere as a comment, but I think it's actually his wife said something about the vaccine. Like people are like, oh, I don't know about getting his vaccine and shit like that. And Tony's like, yeah, but you've been eating hot dogs for 40 years. Yeah, you don't know what the fuck is in that hot dog, but you suck a fucking hot dog down real quick, and it's like, yeah, it's so true, man.
One thing that makes me cautious a little bit about it is that it's like an mRNA. It changes your genetic makeup, DNA structure and stuff.
Yeah,
and that's a little bit like where most normal vaccines, like they introduce like a small amount of the virus, or they give some type of like thing where so your body like kind of acclimates to it and creates, white blood cell or however all that chemistry crap works. Because I don't know, because I hate chemistry, but I think that's how it works. But this stuff is a little different because it changes your strands and stuff. So when you see people posting shit about how they turn into lizard men the next day, or it's like you have all these different things. It's like you feel like a little cautious about it because you're wondering because like if I was 80, I'd be like, give me that shit now. But like,
sure,
like,
yeah, right.
I'm not. I'm like, maybe do I really need it right now? Maybe I should wait like a year to see how it affects all these people and stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing. There is no time to do long-term research. We're not going to find out if this shit is going to give you all fucking make you throw it.
Now, if you told me that what they did to create the vaccine was to, radiate a spider and then inject that into the vaccine, that'd be like, yeah. What's that? I can shoot webs, but out of my ass?
Out of my ass, yeah.
As long as I can climb walls, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, thinking like the whole Jeff Goldblum, the Fly thing. You're like,
No, my mind went straight to the X-Men and shit. Like this was going to be the thing that was going to make all our fucking mutant powers come out.
Yeah.
And then I was going to end up with some real fucking lame ass like power.
Chainsaw hands.
Chainsaw. Yeah. Yeah. There goes the masturbating, you know? But yeah, so everybody have a happy holiday. Let's see. And as for the rest of my hauls, I was actually still have some hauls left. So this is your second opportunity to laugh at me, Jed. So I bought an Action Master. I bought one Action Master. No, this is gonna be a laugh upon a lot of laughs. You ready? So I bought an Action Master. I got Action Master Kickoff.
Okay.
And then so I'm meeting up with this dude Ronan from one of the groups, well, from a couple of groups and shit like that. And over the weekend, he actually lives like 10, 15 minutes from Nate. And I'm picking up 12 Action Masters for
a full dozen Action Masters.
Full dozen. He has three boxed ones and 9 carded ones. So I'm picking them up all in one fell swoop. So that's gonna put me over the halfway point for Action Masters. So, you know, once again, Uncle Lenny speaking to me from beyond the grave. It's like, Mike, just, you know, you're only going to be on this planet one time. Instead of saying, like, when somebody says, hey, Mike, do you have a complete Transformer collection? And then you always got to, you know, say, oh, well, you know, the disclaimer, well, it's complete, but, you know, after Pretenders, like, I don't have any Micromasters. Now I just say yes. So basically, by spending a couple extra $1,000 on a few measly Micromasters and Action Masters, I could just say, yeah, I got every goddamn one of them. And then I'll be
I was going to say, it's I know someone asked this question, I think, on the files, but you haven't had a hard time really finding carded unopened ones, right? They kind of seem to be out there, huh?
They are, but the thing is that certain ones are rarer than others. So it's kind of like imagine if you went fishing, you know, and they just restocked the lake, right? You know, well, you're going to be catching all the fish quick in the beginning, but then once it gets thinned out and you're down to like there's certain couple ones. Because I've been like in the beginning, I was searching real general, like, you know, G1 Action Masters or Action Master MOCS or Action Master MIB or Micromaster MIB or MOCS or whatever, and like you get them. So then I would be like picking them off one at a time and shit like that. And then I started seeing like not as many were showing up. So then I started searching them by name, and certain ones I could see taking a while, you know. But you know,
because of the character.
Just because of the character. Like I think the Action Master, Megatron, and Optimus, I think they're going to be very hard to find at this point. You know, and the funny thing is, like, man, I had all this shit and I sold it because I'm like, what the fuck do I need Action Masters and Micromasters for? You know, and then fucking Jason was like, oh, you know, it's G1, and he's right, it is fucking G1, and it's not even like bullshit like that never showed up in the comics. Like the Micromasters and the Action Master, that was all in the comics. They were part of. It's not like the garbage that they put out at the end of a line that you never see, you know. Like honestly, Micromasters and Action Masters are more legit than Whirl and Roadbuster, and the twin twist and Topspin. Not, I mean, if you take IDW out of I'm talking like early, like the Marvel, you know, like the motherfuckers never showed up, you know. But
right,
shit, man, and Micromasters and Action Masters were in there.
Yeah.
So
5 years from now, you'd be like, well, Beast Wars was part of G1, so.
No, that's where like
I sold them all.
I know. I keep drawing a hard line, and then the hard line gets soft, and then it moves back, and it's a new hard line. But like,
right?
Because Beast Wars is like, I could look at Micromasters and Action Masters and look at that. You know, the Micromasters only had there's maybe 30 pieces total, and Action Masters was less. I think maybe there was like 20, 25. Like, you know, you start getting into Beast Wars and shit. Well, then that's a whole universe, you know. I mean, there's probably 100 or 150 of them or whatever, like leading up to Beast Machines or whatever the fuck came after that. So
forget how many waves they did. I remember looking at that a couple months ago. I think it was it 4 waves maybe or something of like figures, and then it was it was really random. Then after that, where's the
you had the mutants and the fusers and all that other shit that came out, you know. And it's like, I'm not trying to go down that road. And if I did, I would be skipping right over G2 anyway. Like that's where the gap happens. Like because I have zero interest in G2. and so if I have zero interest in G2, then there's like a little bit like a 2-year gap in between where G1 officially ended and like Beast Wars 94, 95, 94. I think we would know this. Like we're the number one Beast Wars podcast and we don't know what Beast Wars.
Yeah. No, I think wasn't it later I think it was 96, wasn't it?
It might have been 96. Well, then what the fuck is going on?
Not too much. Wasn't there like a 3-year gap there where nothing was really happening?
Nah, but there was never, and this is information actually from our other co-host Levy has said that there was never a single year from the time the Transformers came out that there were not Transformers figures on the shelf.
Oh yeah, really? Okay.
So you figure, what did I say? Action Masters went from 90 to 91. That was the final. So then G2 must have went on for longer than we did. Yeah, because that would have had to been. I have to do a little bit of research on that shit, man.
Where did the UK stuff fit in when they started doing those jets and stuff? That was it. Trigger Master or Target Master? No, that was ones where you look through the little viewfinder. Is that before G2?
Some of that shit was G2. Some of that shit was G2. Yeah.
I saw this in the Beast Wars, the one Beast Wars Facebook thing. I put it in the Discord channel. Yeah. It's like a KO. It's awesome. Check it out. It's like Chinese KO of a Beast Wars figure.
Yeah. That'd be one I might buy. Just like, you know, it's a conversation piece.
It changes from cock to robot and back again.
So here's the lineup. All right. Transformers Generation 1 from 84 to 90 in USA and 84 to 93 in UK and Canada. Okay. So that's what you were talking about. Or some of that shit was G1, some of that UK shit.
Right.
And then Generation 2 was 92 to 94 in the US and 94 and 95 in the UK and Canada. So G2 covered the gap from 92 through 95, if you're talking worldwide. And then Beast Wars picked up right after that. Beast Wars was 96. Beast Wars and Beast Machines 96 through 2001.
So there was a 2-year gap between 94 and 96 in the United States.
In the United States, yeah.
Transformer toys, yeah. I knew there was like a little gap just US somewhere.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, when we were saying like Beast Wars in 96, I'm like, there's no way that Generation 2 had this 4-year staying power if it was. But then, yeah, that makes sense that it was in the UK.
G2 was I think they considered G2 a failure, didn't they? It was like it didn't sell well. It was like ended like, you know, there was like it was supposed to be like a rebranding, a reboot, and it just didn't do well. I know the comic books didn't do well.
The comics only lasted 12 issues. And you know what? I kind of dug the comics. Like I don't know, like it wasn't great artwork, but it was like unique artwork. And, you know, the toys were, I don't know what they were trying to do with the toy. And listen, I'm not trying to like fuck with anybody that, you know, I know Gort loves that shit. And there's some friends of ours that love it, but like G2, man, some of them paint jobs, man. Like,
oh yeah, it was like out there. I mean,
yeah,
it was. I think it was meant to be like very boisterous, and you know, it was like the end of the 80s fluorescent, you know, colors that were just clashing and stuff. But think about it this way, right? And I kind of never really put the 2 and 2 together until we were just talking about the years and stuff. But you remember when, like, in the early 90s, when grunge music like Nirvana, Pearl Jam started taking over, and all the 80s music was like fading away. But you still had those 80s bands that were pretty big yet, like, you know, Def Leppard and Poison and Motley Crue. But like in the 90s, when they threw out like their albums, they weren't that good anymore. And it was like you wanted to like it, and some of them were just like shit. Like the Def Leppard one that came out, I forget what that was called. It was like a skull in front of a mirror,
retroactive,
or something near
that
a
was
van.
Retroactive.
That's it.
That was the one. That was the one with 2 steps behind on it, and that was like the only hit I think they had on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will agree with you on most of it, But there were
Right.
some
Most of
there
it.
was some 80s bands that put out some fucking killer albums because some of them rolled with the times. Like you could tell like grunge affected, like, dude, if you ever, I mean, Dog Eat Dog, man, Dog Eat Dog is probably my favorite Warren album. And it came out, and people hear Warren and it's like,
It was
cherry
heavier.
pie. But it was like, dude, if you hear Dog Eat Dog, it's, man, right out of the gate with I think Machine Gun or Hole in My Wall and Machine Gun are either 1 and 2 or 2 and 1 on an album, and they're just like they're heavy. And Kiss had that is it Carnival? It's not Carnival of Souls.
Yeah, because they turned that into a
Is that what it
video
was
game.
called?
Yeah,
dude, that was a heavy, man. That same thing, man. That was another that album, and I always talk about it, and people are probably tired of hearing about it, but like, dude, the Karabi Crew album, man, just a heavy fucking album. So like, some of them, I agree. They tried to stick to what they were doing, but others kind of rolled with the times a little bit. And the ones that rolled with the times, they put out some fucking decent albums. But the problem was that their original their fans were like, well, this doesn't sound like them anymore, so we don't want it. It's like, you gotta.
I'm comparing that to like G1 and G2. You're like, oh, it's like you wanted to like it because it's your favorite and stuff, but then you're like, Megatron shouldn't be a fluorescent green camo tank, type of thing.
I think the mistake they might have made is that they went the opposite direction. Like, to me, when you go from G1 to G2 and you got all them fluorescent paint jobs and like Megatron, like it says Megatron rules on a big sticker on the side, and and it's just like, well, you're like, I see that appealing to like younger kids that like when they see bright shit, they're like, ooh, big shiny bright, And to me, it's like, well, if we were like, I was 8 years old in '84, so for the heyday of Transformers, I was 8 to 10 years old, right? And then if you really want to like go through 90 when the toys were, because I was still collecting all that shit, so I would have been 14 years old. So at age 14, like the transition to the next transition, I felt like they maybe should have tried to make them something, I don't know, it's something to roll with the kids that were getting a little bit older. But I guess that probably wouldn't have worked either, because we were all like discovering like girls at that point, and toys were kind of getting pushed off to the side. So,
well, most of us were.
Yeah. But you know what? I fell out for a while. Like, I didn't, I always had my shit and I never tried to hide from it. And but they were all packed away at one point, and it wasn't until like I bought my first house when I was 18 or 19. So I had my own spot, and I put a couple of them out again, and like kind of sort of started getting back into them like when I was in my early 20s. But in between, from 16 to 20 or whatever, it was like nothing existed except for vagina, and that could have not existed because I didn't see much of that either.
You could always tell, because like, think about what posters you had on your walls and how old were you when you had those posters up, right? Yeah, like, the tank poster or plane or whatever, and you had like, X-Men or something, or Spider-Man, and it was like up in your walls. And then when you were a teenager, then you started, having all the hot chicks like on your walls and stuff, and then when you're like 20 or 21, you're like, yeah, right.
I remember that Cindy Crawford.
Or that what was that the cowboy chick? It was like Wide Open Spaces. I think that was a pretty popular poster back then.
The two I always remember having was the shorts. Was Cindy Crawford and like Pamela Anderson pre all the surgery, the lips, and
work.
All that work and stuff. Like, you know what? And she was a good looking girl before all that shit. Now, don't get me wrong, I love a big pair of fake boobies and shit, but she was just a really good looking girl before. I don't like when girls do stuff to faces. Yeah. Like, because it never comes out good, and then they never age gracefully. Like, I would rather a girl age gracefully than like have all this fucking plastic work done, and then they end up looking like Steven fucking Tyler, and it's like
they look like they're frightened all the time.
Oh, dude, yeah. And then they like, they go to bed and looking, like 45 one day, and they wake up and they look like the fucking Crypt Keeper the following morning, and it's like, nah. Dude,
Yeah, if you have to have surgery done that involves a hammer where they smash and break your cheekbones and your nose and reconstruct them, that's usually not a good thing.
Yeah, like listen, maybe you're just ugly and just deal with it. You know, it is what it is. Like, but,
yeah, grow your hair long, wear it in front of your face.
Yeah. This is what they
just
make.
Like peek through your eye.
Did you ever see them videos? And man, every once in a while I see one, and I'm always like completely enthralled by them. It's just like, but like where there's a complete dog face, right? And she puts on enough makeup to the point where she looks like a fucking anime character, and she's like hot. Like,
yeah.
And it's like, oh my God. And then you go back to, and then they show like the side by side at the end, and it's like, oh my God, like, dude, I would be completely fooled by that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, you gotta be careful with makeup, man. You know, and some of these chicks, like some of them are like artists, like, you know, it looks really good. The only time that you can really tell is like when like a bitch looks like she just it's just caked on her. Like, it looks like you could take a fucking spatula or like a paint scraper and just completely fucking remove her face right off her skull. Like, then you know, but some of them look good.
There was a girl that I used to work with that did that. And like in the morning, she would like look good. And then come like 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon, all the foundation crack. So you can see all these cracks going through her entire face. Like she was fucking like Jigsaw or some shit. I'm like, oh. I'm like, I want to go get some spackle and patch that up in the bathroom.
Aren't you glad to be a dude? You know, like when I see all the shit that fucking chicks got to go through, like, you know, dude, man, there's too much fucking work. There's too much work. Of course, then again, I used to put fucking eyeliner on and paint my fucking fingernails. I was
just gonna say, I used to put makeup on, and I never did. So,
well,
you know, the worst I ever complained was I had to stay in the shower a little bit extra longer to wash my hair, but that was about it.
I rocked the shit out of that guy liner.
Oh, is that what we call it now? Guy liner.
Guy liner. Oh, wait, you never heard that before?
Nope.
You have now.
Oh,
just wait. Yeah. I'm gonna do it. I used to do it because I think it was cool, but now I'm gonna do it to annoy the rest of my band. Like when I grow the hair out, like by the time all this shit is over, we start playing out again. I'm have long hair, so I'm going the whole route. I'm fit black fingernails, fucking eyeliner.
Yeah.
I might have to bust out. I might have to wear like the long sleeve mesh shirt under the short sleeve t-shirt. No. Like, you know.
Like the one that goes over your fingers, like in between your front two fingers and shit.
Nah, the one I have just goes down to the end of the wrist.
That's good.
But I do own one though.
The one I have.
I can't wait to get thrown out.
We used to make fun of Gary's boots because he had tassels on them. And then Sean's girlfriend used to say, I have those boots.
Yeah.
She goes, did you get them at the same store as me?
Boots are just a bad, I like the biker boots. They're cool. Like just boots, you know, but like the fucking, when they start like venturing into like cowboy boot territory, it's like, man. Tassels, man. I can't even fuck with him because we've all made terrible wardrobe decisions in the past. So, but if he ever wore them again, don't let me catch you wearing them again, Gary.
I used to rock the vest for a while there in the 90s. I was doing the Steve Sanders vest. I still have one.
I still have mine. Dude? Well, that's when we did for Halloween, we went as Sweeney Todd and his girl and shit, and I still had the fucking vest. I never wore it, but I knew I kept it for something, and then I was like, hey, Sweeney Todd, that's perfect. Let's do that. But to be fair, the poofy like pirate shirt, I actually had to buy that. I didn't have
with like the ruffles, like the Prince ruffles and shit.
Game blouses. Nah, that shit I had to buy.
It's I tend to stay away from that type of clothing.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I can't throw anything out anymore because now like Vanessa's really got into like cosplaying and shit. So when cons start or whatever, you know, she's gonna want me to dress up with her, which I like doing. I'm not gonna fucking try to put up a front and act like I don't like it, but I can't throw nothing out because I'm like, I never know when it's gonna come in handy. You know, that just kind of like hang on, no matter how silly the article of clothing is, unless it was boots with fucking tassels on it, they would get it.
You gotta say to DJ, one day all this will be yours.
I'll give it. So I'm gonna put in my will. I'm gonna put. He's gonna get all my stupid cosplay clothes, and Alyssa's gonna get the Transformers. I'll come down to the fucking cemetery and piss on my grave every day, no matter how out of the way the trip is. Well, I got him a shirt for Christmas. I actually designed it. I had it printed up for him, but I don't know if I ever tell you the story. But he, in Vanessa's old house, like the basement was painted like the dark blue, like the Cowboys, like dark navy blue, and they let him paint on the wall. They let him paint like 6 of his favorite players' names and numbers, like jerseys, like the number and then the name above it and shit. And and they were all misspelled. And the Dak, I don't even know if he had Prescott or if he had Dak. But the 4 was backwards. Now keep in mind, he's 16. I don't know how long. I can't remember how long ago Dak was drafted, but it wasn't that fucking long ago. So he was probably around maybe like 10, I'm guessing. And so he had Ezekiel Elliott. He had 21 Ezekiel Elliott, but he spelled Ezekiel. Follow me on this. Follow me on this and try to pronounce it after I spell it out for you.
Okay.
Easy. Wait, I gotta pull it up. It's so fucked up. I gotta pull it up. Hang on. Ezequukel. Ezequukel.
Easy Quackle.
So we were pronouncing it as Kugel.
Kugel.
So,
Easy Kugel.
As Kugel. So that became his nickname. So I designed him like a fucking Cowboys, like a jersey shirt, or jersey, I guess you would call it, and it has the Cowboy star, and it says fucking 21 as Kugel on the back. I'll fucking send it to you. It's
That's
fucking
funny.
So yeah, to finish up my haul.
After your dozen Action Masters.
After my dozen Action Masters that I'm getting tomorrow. So I got the Oculus Quest, and so did Vanessa. Me and Vanessa both got the Oculus Quest.
Did you have time to play it yet?
I played let's see. I played the what you call it, a Beat Saber. Mm-hmm. So I played the demo on mine, and then Vanessa liked it so much she actually went and bought like the legit game. So I've been playing the shit out of that on hers.
Yeah,
we were only gonna buy like we were gonna go back and forth with buying games, like switch back and forth, and then the only time we were both gonna get it is if we wanted to play something that was like 2-player.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Beat Saber is. Did you see that? That I put in the chat.
I did. That's really fucking funny.
As Kukul Elliott. So I played that, and I played a couple of the demo things that they had on there. Like there was the one where it was like First Steps is called, and they take you through and show you how to like use your hand controllers, and there was like a shooting game in there, like a target shooting game. And I downloaded some Jurassic Park thing that I didn't get a chance to check out yet. But the Beat Saber was so much fun, like I couldn't get off it. I was just like,
yeah, that's
crushing
fun.
That game.
There's a really good game. If you're like, it's like a shooter game, and like, kind of grab throws type of stuff. It's called Robo Recall. It should be pretty cheap right now. It's been out for a while, but that's like a lot of fun. You like the robots go crazy, and you have to like shoot them, and they come with handles on the front, which is really fun because you can grab them and throw them and stuff. Of course, all the Vader trilogy was really good, and like I said, Half-Life Alyx was good. And if you want like kind of like a creepy adventure or sci-fi thing, Lone Echo, that's a good one too. Mm-hmm. There's a ton of stuff out there, but be careful because make sure you like watch reviews of these games, because some of the stuff, it looks really good, but it's like really trashy when it comes to when you're actually playing it versus like watching it, and it doesn't like a lot of times it doesn't work out well. There's a YouTube channel that I watch all the time. This guy, I don't know if he's British or if he's Australian or something. It's called The Oasis. Mm-hmm. He does all these reviews and all these games and everything, and he's pretty straightforward with how the quality of it is, and he's been pretty spot on with his reviews with everything I've tried. But yeah, it's It's awesome. Some of the stuff.
I did sample some 4K porn. I did just one. It was unfucking believable. It was just like a girl stripping out by the pool, and like it's amazing how fucking
got into the whole hardcore stuff, huh?
No, not yet. No, but it was wild, man. I'm like, it was like the detail, like, dude, you can see like every dimple on her vagina lips. Like, I made sure to stick to like the 2K and the 4K. Like, if this is some, 720 or 1080, it's like, no, that's
anything below 1080 it's just trash.
Yeah,
it's like watching like pixelated fucking 8-bit fucking video games at that point.
That'd be great if you watch that and then you jerked off and then you look down and like the tissue had a pixelated wad in it.
Oh man.
Yeah, so we got those. So I haven't really had a major chance to dive into all that shit, but we've fucked around with it a little bit. So
did you try the 2-player thing? Like Kyle was playing like ping pong and shit?
No, we haven't gotten that far yet. Vanessa's not really playing hers much because she's not really supposed to be moving her arms a whole lot because of the nature of the surgery that she had. So she's trying to yell at her a couple times.
Mike, I can't remember the name of it, but there's like a knockoff VR version of Mario Kart out there.
Yes, she showed me that. Yes,
yeah,
she did. She showed me that. I'm gonna have to actually show that to Jefferson and see if I could talk him into maybe getting that, man, because that would be all right. VR, yeah, the Mario Kart. Even the logo. She's at the end of the little trailer. Like even the logo was Mario Kart-ish looking.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised that Nintendo hasn't sued them.
Yeah, really. Yeah, so that's all for me. Cool. Eggs are cool. And by the way, just as a note, the eggs before, like, because everybody was like really pissed off about the $175 price tag, and I'm not going to say that when you take the egg out of there, like when you take them out of the box, like you're suddenly okay with $175, but you don't feel as bad about spending that money like when you take them out, because it's the whole egg portion of it itself is like die cast, and is great detail. It's not just like a round fucking egg. Like there's all the quintessence detail like on the top of it and shit, and all the faces are plastic, but they're painted to the nines. Like it's a beautiful figure. I've been
telling Nate about how you guys have like this justification for your purchases now. Like you'll do everything and anything to justify you spend them, to the point of being professional about it. So I've been calling it your professional justification of purchases. Well, you're like, what? $180 for an egg? Fuck that. Oh yeah, wait, it's all die cast. Well, it's then all I'm in. Like, well,
I think people
figure from the front and the back.
I think a lot of people looked at it and they for one, they thought it was like you don't realize how big it is until you see it in front of you, and the fact that it doesn't feel like a flimsy piece of shit like when you take it out. Also, it does help. Listen, you could justify it even if it was $100. You could justify it all you want. You go into any of our collection rooms and you see how many fucking thousands and thousands of dollars that we spent on this shit. We're all fucking goofballs. You know what I mean? But
oh yeah,
you're
like, oh, I'm gonna get that clear Ravage because, man, I just got it. And you like give your points of justification about why you need to get it.
I don't understand. Like clear Ravage is one thing, but the clear Superion and the clear Devastators and these $600 fucking clear robots, like I don't know, man. That's a little too much even for me. But you know what? How about we move on? I just levied that whole section of the show right there.
Oh yeah.
It's taking 45 minutes for my hauls and shout outs. Thanks for listening, everybody. You should just call it a day. Fuck the rest of the show, right?
Part two.
So you want to move on to the news section there, Jed?
Sure. All right, let's go to the deaths. Did you hear that Jeremy Bulloch was 75 years old. He was an English
And that is the
actor.
original Boba? Was that the original Boba Fett?
The original Boba Fett, correct. He was in Star Wars. He was also in, I think, the James Bond movie Spy Love Me. And there was another movie, Queen of Scots. He was also pretty active on like the whole convention like fan circuit. So he was always there doing that. But there's always like these pictures of like the Boba Fett going around with like the helmet off, and the guy has like a mustache and glasses and stuff. That's not him. That's like the special edition guy they got to redo the new shots and stuff.
Yeah,
but,
Boba Stash.
Boba Stash. But yeah, he's it was kind of sad, but hey man, he had a good run. But yeah, that's one thing that I guess a good claim to fame is to have that role. But like I said, he was real active with the fans, which was really cool.
Didn't Darth Vader just die a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, David Prowse. Yep.
Man,
he
just
just
crazy,
died
man.
2 weeks ago too. Yep. Tommy Lister Jr. He was 62. He was an American actor for the films Friday, The Fifth Element, No Holds Barred. He was also known as the professional wrestler Zeus. He passed away.
Get the fuck out.
Because he was talking about how he had just recently talked to Ice Cube about them doing another Friday movie. So yeah, I didn't see any reason why he died, but I haven't looked into it too closely either to see if there was a cause of death. Because they said
are you talking about Debo?
Yeah, Debo. Yep.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a bummer. R.I.P. Debo.
But yeah, they said that someone tried to contact him and he wasn't answering any phone calls. They found him, dead. I don't know if it was like an OD or he had some type of he was ill or what, but they haven't really said that yet. At least that I've seen. Anyway,
62 is too young.
Mm-hmm. He was also, I heard, like he was like a really nice guy too, especially with like the paparazzi and the media and stuff. He'd always answer questions. He was like, usually real nice to fans and stuff too. Chuck Yeager died. You know who Chuck Yeager is, right?
Wasn't he I feel like he was. Wait, Chuck Yeager. Wait a second, I'm getting him fucking confused with Chuck Yeager. Wait. What did he do? Hang on, give me a second.
All right, he was 97.
97. No, he was not who I thought he was. I just looked him up. I was gonna say race car driver.
Close. He was a pilot.
Yeah.
And he was the first person to break the speed of sound in the X1 jet way back when in the 80s it was, I think, or the early 60s.
Yeah.
He has like he's like another thing that people might know him from is like he had back in the 80s or the early 90s, he had EA had a flight simulator based on him. Like it was Chuck Yeager's flight simulator, or Chuck Yeager's combat flight simulator. But he had like if you have a time, just go look up his like wiki. He has a really like full life. Like he did tons of shit. Not only did he break the speed of sound, but he like went and broke like Mach 2, and then he did all this other like test pilot shit and broke all these other aviation records. And then he was like a aerial commander in Vietnam War. And then like in his 80s, dude, he was still flying. Like they celebrated the 50 years of breaking the speed of sound, and him and his wingman went up in a jet like in their 80s, and they were still flying, breaking speeds of sound then too. It was crazy. They had there was this big thing that happened with him and his like a few years ago when he met some like younger chick. She was like in her 30s and he was like in his 80s or like late 80s.
Yeah.
And they said that she was like a gold digger and stuff, and they like had this big family like blowout where he sued his family for like trying to remove his money and his fortune and reinvest it because they said that he couldn't be trusted with it because he was saying that she was going to get the money and all this other shit, and he won the lawsuit. I think now his family gets shit. So,
yeah, That's never worth the pussy. I guess I can't say that until I'm 80 years old and I meet a 30-year-old or whatever. But like I don't know. It just never seems worth it.
If you're in your 80s and you meet some 30-year-old chick on, the bike trail or whatever, and then your kids like have problems with her because they're older than her,
right? Yeah, right.
That's when the whole like, oh, she's a gold digger type of thing. Like what was that one that Playboy freaking model that was like that? Was it Anna Nicole Smith? Is that who it was?
Oh yeah, Anna Nicole Smith had that. Yeah, but she was like, she had her own money, which I didn't understand. But she had that real old ass fucking dude.
Yeah.
The husband, the old husband, and it's like, man, she had them enormous ass titties. Can you imagine that old man? Man, I mean, you know what? Some of them guys are probably just like, fucking, I'm gonna die anyway, so I may as well get these big ass titties or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know, dude. It never seems that shit. Those are always weird because you never have anything to talk about.
Mm-hmm. And his wife, like he wound up marrying that woman, and his wife, she wasn't like that. She wasn't like a Playboy or anything like that. She was an actress, but I mean, wasn't that great looking. So
yeah,
it's just an age thing, It wasn't like I could see it, but I can. It's not like it was like blatantly obvious or anything like where she was wearing like a Jessica Rabbit dress and walking around like, with
why
money
wasn't she?
And another news, David Lander was 73 years old on Laverne and Shirley.
Oh man, Squiggy. I remember Squiggy.
And he died from complications from sclerosis.
Huh.
He also did a lot of voiceover stuff, and he was one of those weasels in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. He was like one of the bad guys. If you remember that. Funny.
Yeah, I do remember that, yeah.
And that's it. That's all the people that died this past 2 weeks. Trailers.
Yes.
So let's start with Transformers Earthrise.
Yes.
Do tell, Mike. What do you think?
I think it's gonna be fun, man. Like I would like the last, like, listen, I enjoyed the first 6 episodes or whatever. Like I know they weren't everybody's cup of tea, and I know they didn't look as awesome as they could have and all the other shit that everybody said about it, but it was a fun time. And I don't know, I'm liking this shit, man. Well, first of all, we saw Galvatron, Unicron, the Quintessons. Who am I forgetting? There was a couple other like new characters that were in there, but
Bug Bite, the Nemesis.
Yes. Double Dealer, I think, is going to be in it too, right?
Yep, Double Dealer. Yep. So there was a couple others, and I can't remember though.
It's funny. It's like it's weird though, like that this whole thing that they're doing. The first one, what was the first one again? Siege. And now this Earthrise, and then they're going to do the Kingdom after. It's almost like they're taking Transformers like more than a decade, like 15 years of Transformers, and putting them into what is going to end up being like 18 episodes, because it's like they did like all the pre-movie shit in the first season, and now it looks like they're doing movie stuff in this coming to Earth and the whole Unicron thing and everything. Not that the story is going to be the same, obviously, but just like those group of characters, and then they're going to do like the Beast Wars stuff after. So it's almost like they're kind of like, it's like a sped up timeline of what we've had in over the first 15 years of Transformers, which is kind of wild. What do you think about the?
I think what they're doing is they're.
Oh, go ahead.
So I think what they're doing is with the storyline, I think they're taking on different well-known versions of Transformers, and they're kind of mixing them all together. And I think they're giving us like an alternate universe stuff. So I don't think that I don't think they're aiming to get like a reboot of what it is. I think they're just aiming to get like a similar type of story, so they can get all the different figures together, all the different characters together, and have them like kind of interact. And I think that's exactly what they're doing.
Wait,
I don't know if this is like a mirror universe.
A multiverse. I was just going to say like a multiverse type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of got that. There was 6 Megatrons like in it. They were like all like kind of pointing at each other, at Prime, everybody in the center of the circle. I forget what it was. So I don't know if there's like a shattered glass thing. multidimensional.
But were they all
thing.
Megatrons, or were they like how in Siege we saw like, you know, all these different color sideswipes and different color ratchets running around and all that shit because they just reused molds?
I would think if they were
Or was
reusing
it-
a mold, they would reuse a mold that wasn't as distinct as Megatron.
As
you know?
Megatron.
Yeah.
Or we don't know the scene. It could have been like one of those nightmare Prime, you know, Prime goes inside the Matrix and has a nightmare type of situation too. Like, who knows?
It's showing.
I found it interesting that him and Galvatron are separate entities.
Right. So it's either they're going to go the IDW route where it's a different person, or it's time. It's a different time period, or it's a different dimension. So that's usually the status quo when it comes to stuff like that. But you know, in that whole scene, it just back on the whole rest of the directing of the voice acting. Man, it was just so slow in their delivery. I don't trust anyone. It was like that whole scene. I was just like, oh my God, spit it out.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't take a whole lot of notice just because I didn't take a whole lot of notice of the voices just because I was just watching it was more of a visual thing for me, I think. Seeing what character was going to pop up next, you know?
Yeah. But
yeah, that's weird. Back on the Megatron and Galvatron thing, the only time that Megatron and Galvatron were actually the same character was in the G1 cartoon, because every other thing that I've seen, including the live action movies, they've been separate characters. Even in Marvel, they were different. Galvatron he could have been a Megatron, but he came from another dimension, like you said, and he was in this dimension with the Megatron, like Galvatron and Megatron together.
No, I mean like the big broadcast of 2006. That was actually Galvatron from the future, and that's why they couldn't kill the Megatron in that time period, because then it would erase Galvatron. So it was the same character based on the movies, but they kind of like did like their own little alternate storyline from that too.
Still there?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was waiting for your response. I was like,
no, that was it. That was yeah.
It's like he doesn't believe me. I'll give it a chance again. We'll see how it works out. But based on what I saw, it's basically going to be the same animation, same voice. So I'm gonna try to get through it.
I'll be all right. I mean, it's only a couple episodes. It's not gonna really, even if it sucks, you only really invested a couple hours. Basically, I don't know. I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm you know,
like I'll give it a chance.
The reason this shit kind of looks so good is like, it's almost like, you know, it's like when you're in a shit relationship and then you get into like a half decent one. It's like the half decent one seems awesome. So it's like Machine Wars, like fucking Combiner Wars and all that fucking trash that came before this, man, was so fucking bad that now I'm watching this shit going, you know, this ain't, it's not too bad. Like I can get down with it. You know, it was all right.
I always say it's like it's all based on your rewatching experience. Like, do you want to go back and watch it again, or are you just kind of happy watching it once?
I'm happy with watching a lot of shit once. Like,
yeah.
I don't there's not much anymore that I even want to rewatch, because I feel like when I start rewatching things that I should be using that time to watch some shit that I never watched before. You know, it's like when we listen to music, it's like, well, yeah, I want to listen to fucking Appetite for Destruction for the 3,000th fucking time because I love that album, but like maybe I should take that hour and listen to an album I never listened to before, you know?
Sure. Yeah. Yep.
So I'm not really rewatching a whole, but I get what you're saying though. I totally understand your point.
But like when you get like new have a sound that's better quality, or you've listened to it with higher definition earphones, or you know, the 4K version of it came out. You know, it's like
right.
It's like you're enjoying it all over again, but with more detail and stuff.
Yeah,
like with this series, I wouldn't go back and watch it if they said it was in 4K, or like if the G1 was like, hey, look, we cleaned it all up, all the colors and animation errors are gone, and we did all this, and we improved the effects, and I'll be like, oh, okay, I'll watch the all 4 seasons again for that. Yeah, but not this. I wouldn't. So
right.
That's where I can tell like how the quality of it, to me, how it justifies, you know, how good it is or not. Anyway, Falcon and Winter Soldier. What'd you think about that?
Outside of that, I love the MCU and I can't wait to see it. And it looks like it's going to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I have a whole hell of a lot to really bring to the table on this one. Was there what was in it that Easter egg wise that I should have paid attention to, or was it just like here's Falcon and Winter Soldier kind of doing a Batman and Robin type of thing and being funny and whatever? Like, I don't know, it looks fun.
Well, for it being like a quote unquote like TV show series, quality of it is really good.
It did, it did for sure.
There's one Easter egg that people are kind of trying to figure out, but they haven't really said anything about it yet. There's that girl, or I should say that woman with the mask on that has the handprint on her mask.
Yeah.
That might actually be a character called Screaming Mimi. That was a bad guy that then turned into a good guy, and they renamed her Songbird. Mm-hmm. So she was kind of relevant in like the Avengers stuff, like right around the Secret Invasion type thing. And there was a whole bunch of other videos, trailers that I didn't include because there was so many of them. Like there was Secret Invasion, there's Armor Wars, which seems kind of cool, like with War Machine with Rhodey, he'll be in that. And then there's the She-Hulk, which is supposed to be a comedy. They're bringing Tim Roth back for that, who played Abomination.
Movie or series?
TV series. Yeah, these are all series. What was some of the other ones? I can't remember. There's a whole bunch of them. The one thing that was kind of interesting, actually I have that in the news. I'll talk about that later. But Loki, what'd you think about that one? Kind of ties into the rest of the stuff.
Yeah, what was the thing he was in? What was the three? What was it? Something VA something. What was the? Man, I didn't know what it was, and I don't know if I should have known what it was from the comics.
Where
they took him.
The time travel thing. Yeah, the TV. TV
was that?
I think it is.
Might have been TV. Was that something from the comic books?
Time Variance Authority. That's what it stands for.
Oh, okay.
Basically, it's trying to think of what like another version of the same type of thing. Did you watch on the Umbrella Academy?
You know what? Vanessa was watching it. She saw it, and I kind of like saw it by proxy. Like, I saw some of it, enough of it to kind of understand what was going on, but like I didn't see all of it. No.
Basically, the TVA is like an outside dimensional group of people that tries to keep the timeline in place because of all these asshole superheroes and characters that keep fucking it up.
Right.
So you have like Kang. What's that?
Like the time heist. Like they showed the whole scene from Endgame, like where all hell broke loose and the Tesseract kind of got loose and Loki disappeared with it and all that shit. So I was assuming that this is all going to pick up right from where that started. Yeah.
So that's that Loki. So it's like he's right from the first Avengers movie, not the other Loki that we know who went through the whole Retribution, type of buddy movie with Thor and kind of became like a sort of a good guy in a way. We saw like the raw, like I'm still a bad guy type of Loki, which is cool because in the whole trailer they explained that Huber, which was pretty funny. So
is that when he jumped out of the the plane with the money and they never found him and shit? Yeah, I thought that was pretty fucking funny. I couldn't remember what the guy's name was, but I remember like seeing that on History Channel at some point about how they never found that dude and shit. And then it's like they did that with what else? I feel like they did that with Magneto. They it was the Magneto killing JFK with the magic bullet was fucking dude. I love when they explain historical shit like with superheroes, man. I just think that's funny as fuck.
Yeah, that was definitely going. So, but the TVA is like that whole group of people that are trying to fix the timeline after it's been fucked up by all these different people.
Yeah, that looks like it's gonna be fun. I don't know if I'll probably end up watching it at some point. It's hard for me to fucking dedicate or to commit to TV series, but like Loki might be an exception because they couldn't have casted him better, by the way. Like Tom Hiddleston, is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
He's a fucking great
Yeah.
great Loki and shit, like perfect, but I
Dude,
don't know, it looks good.
There's also one part where some people think that it might be Black Widow is like, you know, in that whole planet where they found the soul gem in Soul Infinity Stone.
Yeah.
So, but it might be a different character because there was rumor that they had cast a woman to play Loki as well. Like there's a version of him that's actually when they go through all these different time variances and stuff.
Right.
So I guess we'll find out though.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the Cobra Kai season 3? And have you 1 and 2 yet?
I'm gonna tell you something. I watched like maybe like the first 3 episodes with Vanessa of I don't know how far she made it, but I saw like the first 2 or 3 episodes of season 2. I didn't even see season 1. But that all that being said, this trailer for season 3 makes me want to go back and watch 1 and 2 to catch up so I could watch season 3 because that trailer had me so pulled in because it was like the classic, you know, the good guy and the bad guy from back then get together against and they got the old Cobra Kai, like the dude, what's his name, the sensei and shit, which is funny because what did he call his dojo in the commercial? It wasn't Cobra Kai, it was something. You remember he was doing commercials and shit for something, not in the trailer, like in real life. They're on some commercial and shit, but it's not Cobra Kai, it's like Kitten Kai or some like toned down shit or whatever. Like
but anyway.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just like it was all just like it was a lot of. There was some things that made the hair on my arm stand up, like when he pulled his cell phone up and he had the picture of him and Miyagi, and it's like, man, it's crazy how long ago that was, and like Miyagi's not around anymore. And what was his name? Pat Morita, you know,
it's really good because it takes the story of like the whole Karate Kid movie and it flips it around and it makes it seem like Johnny's like, you know, the good guy like years later, you know, and it makes it makes Daniel seem like a complete asshole and jerk, which he is because he owns this fucking car dealership and he's a complete dick. And like Johnny's like this like contractor and he's just going out trying to fix people's shit and they're giving him shit about it and he doesn't have enough money and he's lucky he has enough money for a slice of pizza and you know he's down on his luck and he's like you know what I could do. He's like he gets like some cash from his dad and finally, you know, like, and that's like he disowns him and stuff and he's like I'm gonna start the dojo up again to make money for myself so I can fucking eat and drink beer and stuff and because he's seeing all these kids getting picked on and stuff. And then, you know, Daniel's like, oh, he's the bad guy. He's coming back. He's going to make my life miserable. And he does all this shit to like ruin him. And it's like Johnny's the good guy of the story.
Maybe I was watching season 1 because was it season 1 where he has to take his car into the dealership to get fixed and it was actually Daniel's daughter that fucking hit. Okay, so that was season 1 I was watching. Okay, cool. So I'm 3 episodes in on season 1, so I can pick up and watch all that shit to get to 3. It's like, yeah, man, the season, this trailer had me sucked in.
And they're not that long. I don't think the episodes, I think they're like maybe 20, 30 minutes or something.
Yeah.
It's good. It doesn't drag along. It's just funny because there's like a lot of one-liners in there where he's like training the kids and he starts talking about Guns N' Roses and they're like, who's Guns N' Roses? And he's like, God damn it.
It's like us.
Yeah, exactly. It is. There's a lot of parallel with it. What did you think of the trailer Nobody?
At first when it started, yeah, I did. I thought it was like it was going to be that story of the like you ever think about, you know, you go back over the things that happened in your life and things you said, man, I wish I would have punched X, Y, or Z's motherfucking face when I had the chance and I didn't. You know, everybody's got a couple of those. And I thought it was going to be one of those type of things and shit like that. And then but then so the I don't know. I started feeling weird when he was out there punching the wall, and I'm like, well, all right, well, this dude's not breaking every fucking bone in his hand and shit, punching his brick wall. So there's got to be more to it. And it turns out he was like some crazy ass fucking whatever, whatever the fuck he was and shit. That looks like a fun movie because he's just like, it is a movie, right?
Yeah.
Or see, okay, it's a movie.
Yes, it's a movie.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. Like I could get behind that, like, because most of the time the action heroes, like, the big fucking imposing like alpha asshole, and this is just like, pops living in the burbs and shit. You know what I mean? And then he turns out like when he was on the bus and then the chick was there and then four or five dudes were surrounding the chick and he was like, he emptied the bullets out of the gun and he said something about kicking their fucking asses and they all laughed at him and shit and then he did. Like, man, how can you not get behind that? Yeah, I don't know. It looks like
Bob Odenkirk, the guy who's the actor, so he trained for like a couple of years to just do that movie.
Really?
So because he's not usually like into like action at all. He's more like the comedian type of thing because he was in geez, I can't remember what the hell is his name of that TV show. It was look it up real quick. He was in Better Call Saul. That's right. That's what the name of it was.
Oh.
It was a spin-off to Breaking Bad. He was the lawyer in Breaking Bad.
Was he Saul?
Well, not in this movie trailer.
No. But I mean, he was the guy that played. Okay, yeah, man. I couldn't figure out, like, he looked familiar, but I couldn't place him. So yeah, all right. Oh my God, that's even funnier. that it's him because he's such a goofball and Better Call Saul.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, he's I think he said he trained like a couple years for it so he could do all those action.
No shit, that's funny.
I think that's what makes it such a good trailer because, like you said, he's just like this goofball type of car salesman type of guy, and now he's like a nice John Wick.
Yeah. He'll be like in the next Expendables, like it'll be Schwarzenegger, Stallone, fucking, Mickey Rourke, and who's the one that fought the shark? Jason Statham, and then him,
Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah, right.
Who fought the shark?
that I saw. By the way, I finally watched that, The Meg, and it makes me laugh because I remember sitting here on this podcast going, "Yeah, Jason Statham will probably fight the shark at the end." He did.
He raced him around with a car, like it was like a boat and shit, and then he punched the shark in the face.
It was like, dude, like they must have fucking sat there and wrote that shit and tried to fucking be like, all right, well, let's make this as Jason Statham-y as we possibly can. Let's have him fucking punch the shark, Fuck out of here.
There was
I watched the whole thing. I don't care.
I can't remember what movie it was, but I was looking up some like fight scenes for a friend of mine for like choreography, and I was looking for like axe fights, like where like one person could fight against another person with like axe or bats or some shit.
Yeah.
And there was this one scene, and I can't remember who they were, but they were fighting, and the guys like fell into like the sporting goods store, and the one picked up a bat, and the other one had a bat, and they were like fighting and stuff, and then the one dude threw a bowling ball at the guy, and the other guy punched it and it broke apart.
Was it Jason Statham?
It was
he headbutt the fucking bowling ball.
But it was at the end, like when the one guy won, he like hit the guy's like head right off with a baseball bat. It was just funny.
Yeah,
I was just laughing my ass off as soon as he threw the ball and it like shattered in like a plaster smoke. It was like,
yeah, man. Sometimes you gotta punch a fucking bowling ball.
So that's all the trailers.
All right. So there's one. I gotta quick bring this up because I don't know if you saw it and I don't know why it's buried, right? But like I found. So remember I was talking about. What was that dragon anime? That was like, it was like a computer.
Oh, the
CGI anime, yeah. Dragon's Dogma. So I found Dragon's Dogma like by like the screen, the Netflix like screensaver was on, and they were like, "Hey, you might watch this or this or this."
Right.
So I saw another one that came up, and it had, I mean, zero fucking fanfare as far as like a trailer or any other shit or whatever. But like apparently, this past Wednesday, a Wolverine animation series got dropped on Netflix.
Oh, that's the old one. That's from
that's the old one.
That's from the G4 anime from back when they did X-Men, Iron Man, Wolverine, and was that the 3?
No, but I thought it said
Iron Man, Wolverine.
So it just got added to Netflix. It's not a new series. It just got added. Okay, I was like, dude, because I remember specifically seeing that it said this Wednesday, and I'm like, what? Wolverine? And nobody's told me about this shit or whatever. So then I started Googling trailers and I couldn't fucking find anything for it. And I'm like, are they trying to hide this or some shit? But then I came across some other shit that I didn't know existed from like 10 or 11 years ago. And it floors me because I am a big X-Men fan. But apparently there was a X-Men anime and there was also a fucking Wolverine anime. Did you ever see that shit?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's
I saw there was 2 of them. There was and I never saw it. So now I'm like, oh, I gotta like that gives me something to watch. I was excited about that, man. When it wasn't good, it looked like it was animated like Bloodlust a little bit, like the animation style that I saw, like Wolverine. I saw a scene with Wolverine and Beast, and they drew Beast more like he looked like almost like a human lion. Like he had the snout and everything like that, as opposed to having just a blue hairy face or whatever.
So there was. I know there's those. I don't know if I can't remember if there was an after that. It was like a Black Widow, Punisher one or not, but there was Iron Man, X-Men, and Wolverine were animes that they did on G4, and it was like it had so much potential. Yeah, and it wasn't that good.
That's a bummer.
It was like there's good parts in it, but like getting through it to get to those parts, it was hard to do. Like it was like boring.
Kinda. I saw a scene with like Omega Red, I think. There's Omega Red in it, and then I saw the Wolverine one. It was like imagine if like Will Fong had like a Billy Ray Cyrus mullet, right? Like that's what like Wolverine Wolverine was fighting some big fucking like samurai demon or some shit, and that's kind of like what he looked like or whatever, and it looked badass, man. I was like, dude, nobody ever told me about it, and I looked at the thing, it was on YouTube, and it said 11 years ago, and I'm like, what?
Yeah,
what rock was I on?
Yeah, I saw those. Like I said, it had a lot of potential, and I think they just kind of dropped the ball on it.
That's a bummer.
Actually, if I remember correctly, because I kind of blocked out a lot of the story. I think the Iron Man one was probably better than the X-Men and the Wolverine one, which was kind of shit because those are like perfect for anime. But because I remember when they did, the Japanese had their own like intro to like the X-Men, the 90s X-Men show, which was like they had Brood in it and stuff like that, and it looked kick ass.
Yeah.
And that's you like watch the opening intro for the X-Men anime, and you're like, looks kick ass. And it was just it wasn't. It was kind of, if I remember right, it was kind of boring some parts of it. And the guy that was in Heroes that played Peter, how was his last name? He was the 2 brothers. The one could fly, and the other one was like could adapt everybody else's powers. The one with he had the lip, the cocked lip all the time.
I honestly never watched Heroes. I mean, I know what show you're talking about, but I don't.
He played Rocky's son in the one Rocky movie.
Oh, okay.
He does the voice of Wolverine in the Wolverine anime. But yeah, don't lower your expectations. But yeah, definitely.
I'll watch it and have fun with it. We just saw some. It was like Wolverine and Thor and Loki and like the Hulk, some Marvel animated thing. We just watched some shit. Like, dude, it was funny as fuck, man. I went. So Vanessa started. So we ate edible. We had a couple edibles and shit. And I went to take a shower and I came downstairs and it was Thor. I think Thor and Loki were fighting the Hulk, or it might have been like a 3-way fight, like where Thor was fighting Loki and they were also fighting the Hulk or some shit. And Vanessa looked just like, and now the edibles had kicked in at this point, but she looks at me and she tells me she's watching He-Man. I'm like, oh, nice. I'll join you for some He-Man. That was cool, though. I can't remember.
That was like the Japanese Marvel superheroes. I think there were some kids in there too, right?
Man, I'm gonna have to go back and look at exactly what the title was, but it didn't look like anime. You know what I mean? It looked more, it was almost more like DC animation. You know, okay. It was like a little more, it was kind of like that Dead Space. Like I just watched that Dead Space not too long ago. Right. Yo, did you watch that shit?
A while ago, yes.
Man, that thing I thought that was awesome. Did you like it?
Yeah, it was good. It reminded me do you remember the Chronicles, or was it the Chronicles of Riddick? There was like a Riddick anime there was an anime for that too.
Or as Q called it one time, the Ridicles of Chronic. Yeah, well, that's what this Marvel animation reminded. No, I mean, obviously not with all that violence and shit, but the oh man, that Dead Space had me on the edge of my seat. And then I watched the sequel. It was the one where it starts out and it's like really fucking shitty, like Beast Wars. I
haven't seen the sequel.
It's cool. You can't turn the sequel off because you're gonna turn it on and it starts out with like that 90s Beast Wars animation, like that actual quality, and you're like, what the fuck is this shit? But what it is they rescue a couple people off the ship, and they do that in the real shitty CGI. But then as they're interviewing each person, there's like 4 or 5 people they rescue, and as they're interviewing each person, when they tell their story, it flashes back and then it goes back into like that other animation, like that was in the first movie. So as long as you get you just got to grit your teeth and make it through the fucking shit animation. But that's really not the fun part of the story. The fun part is but yeah, man, I was high as fuck when I watched that shit, and that shit had me on the edge of my seat.
Have you been watching the new Attack on Titan, or are you waiting for the English stuff?
Yeah, DJ told us that it was out and it was in Japanese, and I probably would watch. Like I want to get on it, but Vanessa's not too high on subtitles and shit like that. And she was thinking about it because we really want to see this 4th fucking season, but I think she wants to wait for the English version. You know, when I say shit like that, I could hear whoever ROC guy at the Soy Gun going, Vanessa wants to wait for the English dub. Yeah. So yeah, we have not got on that yet. Did you start watching it?
I have been watching it. Yep.
Yeah. Are you far into it?
Yeah, I'm caught up with it. I mean, they're releasing it once a week.
Oh, are they? I didn't know they were doing it like that. I thought they were going to do it all in one.
I think it's on Sunday mornings, I think it comes out or something like that, which is probably like a Saturday night for Japan, I think.
I wonder whether
the animation's different. They use more CGI in it this time for like texturing and coloring and stuff. Yeah, and I'm not too keen with. I'm just still trying to warm up to it, but it doesn't look as good as what it did last season.
Yeah, that was one thing I really liked about it was the animation, because I know they use CGI for the old shit, but it was more in a tasteful kind of way, kind of like how Castlevania did it.
Yeah, the coloring I think the materials and the texturing is they changed, and it seems like it's a little bit too much. You know, like that girl who looks good with makeup on, but then one night she puts a little bit too much. Fucking wipe that shit off.
Yeah,
that's how this is. It feels, but I mean, the story is all so far like it's all Marley, but it's good.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch that, man. That's one series I don't mind dedicating my time to watching the entire. Did it say how many episodes are going to be yet, or are they just?
I can probably look it up real quick and tell you. 16, I think.
Oh, okay. Not too long.
Yeah, tomorrow. Or maybe it is. Yeah, Saturday. I'm sorry, it's Saturday and 10 o'clock in the morning it comes out.
Yeah.
So it'll be the third episode is tomorrow. So you're not too far if you want to start watching it.
Yeah, I'll see if I could talk her into subtitles.
Season 3 was 22 episodes, and this one says 16 episodes, but maybe they'll just keep going, how they release so many of them so at a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
I started watching an anime called Dorohedoro. Did you ever see that?
I watched like the first episode and I couldn't get into it. Is that the one where like the lizard man?
Yeah.
Like a lizard face man or some shit. Maybe I didn't watch enough of it or whatever, but I was kind of like, it looked interesting. And then I started watching it and I couldn't really get into it. Yeah,
it was like 13 episodes. Well, I think the 13th episode was like an extra, but like there was like 12 episodes. It was good. Like I watched a couple, like 2 of them, give the old 3 episode trial, before I give up on it. And it got interesting, and it was like weird and just odd and funny at some points and really fucked up at the other points. But it was I think it's worth it. It's like a weird multi-dimensional sorcery type of down and dirty grit type of weird mystery anime.
Yeah.
It's definitely different than anything I've seen before. I don't think I watched anything else besides that lately.
I know I'm like 2 years behind the game. But so a couple Saturdays ago, I actually watched it before the last podcast, but forgot to say something. So I woke up on a Saturday. It was early on a Saturday morning. And again, the Netflix screensaver was up, and there's a thing up there that says that on, I think, December 21st this year, December 21st, 2020 is the last day that you're going to be able to watch Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh,
so I'm like, fuck, man, I better watch Into the Spider-Verse. So
wow. Okay.
I watched Spider-Verse, and that shit blew my fucking doors off, man. That shit was so good. That shit, I really thoroughly enjoyed that. Because I didn't know how I felt about the whole Miles Morales thing. Like, not about him personally, but like, fucking Peter Parker is Spider-Man, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But then like after, I watched that, and I mean, I got into it in the comics a little. Like I read some of the comics and I enjoyed it. But I liked the whole, I don't know, the whole like all the except for like Spider-Gwen, dude. I don't know.
Can't do it.
Well, it's just weird. Like maybe I just don't know enough about the characters and shit, but like the Spider-Gwen, and then wasn't there a Gwenpool? Wasn't that also Gwen Stacy? And it's like, like, I don't know. A lot of that shit just seems kind of like ridiculous. But I mean, for this thing, I did enjoy it, for what it was. But the movie as a whole, man, that shit was fun as hell, man.
Yeah, the animation is awesome.
Oh, it was awesome. Like I liked how it was it was an animation, but at some points it was almost like a moving comic book.
Yeah.
Where some of the words were like popping up on the screen and shit, and like the way they did sound effects and stuff, almost like the old Batman.
When they were running out of the lab and he whips the bagel and hits the dude in the head and it said bagel. Like an onomatopoeia. Yeah. But during that whole scene, that's like the big thing, like all the, industry animators and 3D animators have been talking about is like how when Miles is swinging and Peter's swinging, like Peter is swinging on like more frames than Miles because Miles isn't good at it.
Right.
So they were showing how he was like, his animation was smoother, Peter's, and compared to Miles. And that was quite interesting in how they did all that. Like, they made that so that you can pause the movie in any place at any time and there's no motion blur, so you can actually take screenshots of that movie perfectly clear.
Really? Not see, now it's funny that I didn't pick that out, but I didn't pick that out because I just assumed with all animation there would be some sort of motion blur.
They drew the motion blur in, so instead of instead of using interpolated frames to motion blur, they drew the motion blur in to make it. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's no easy task, man. That's no easy task.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
that was very well done. And I mean, there was things about it I didn't quite understand. Like, first of all, I don't know how the fucking Kingpin could even figure out what ass. He definitely got a bidet. He's probably been on the bidet crew. And I didn't understand the ginormous fucking hobgoblin, or was it the Green Goblin? Green Goblin was the Green
Goblin.
I don't think I understood why the Green Goblin was like Titan size.
Yeah. Well, there's like, do you remember the Ultimate version of all the Marvel comics?
Yeah, is that from the Ultimate version? Okay,
yeah,
that was from the
all the
universe.
Ultimate versions. A lot of the movie stuff, like the MCU, like a lot of anime stuff that they did was all based around the Ultimate like kind of line.
I know the live action stuff. A lot of that stuff was based on the Ultimate, but I didn't realize So there was but in Ultimate Spider-Man there was a ginormous Green Goblin.
Yep.
Is that what you're telling me? Oh,
yep.
Okay.
Instead of having the crazy hat and the ha ha ha, he was like giant, like Hulk type of goblin with wings, and he could basically, I think, combust into fire at any point in time.
And did it have anything to do with the Osborns?
Yeah, he was Norman Osborn.
He was Norman Osborn? Huh.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so I'm assuming that Ultimate Doc Ock was also a woman?
I didn't get that far in the books, but I don't remember that. I always remember Doc Ock. The Ultimate Doc Ock was like, I think he was more like he was definitely a dude. Yeah, he was like more like a lab type of. I'm trying to remember how. I keep thinking of him being like in like this bubbly, watery type of like Mysterio looking thing with goggles and stuff. But yeah, I think that might have been an invention of, but I didn't read enough Ultimates to know that if that's true or not.
Because her name was still Octavius or whatever,
right.
Otto's. So I don't know if it was his old lady or.
I can't remember. I don't remember. Like I said, I didn't read enough Ultimates to actually the books or not.
Well, that being said, I'm glad I watched it because like I remember seeing the trailer and thinking, oh, that looks cool, and then just never watched it. But then it was one of those Saturday mornings. I'm laying there and it's like, do I feel like getting up and then I saw the thing. It said, I think it was the fact that it was going away on the 21st. I'm like, shit, I gotta get this in before it goes, and I'm glad I did.
Did you watch that Buddy Games movie yet?
Buddy? Oh no, I did not. No, I didn't. Not yet. We're going to, but we haven't yet.
Cool.
Sorry.
No, hey, I didn't fucking write the movie. I don't care.
Man. Well, since it's me and you, I have a music suggestion for you.
Oh, interesting.
So check these guys out when you get a chance. They're a band called Animal Drive.
Animal Drive.
Yeah, so I got turned on to them actually through a cover. So a lot of times when me and Tony for the McCullen Project, when me and Tony are doing covers and shit, we will check out what other bands did. It's kind of similar. Like when I do a t-shirt design, I make sure nobody else has done it. So a lot of times when we're doing a cover, like we'll look up to see if other bands have covered it to make sure like nobody's kind of going to do the cover the same way that we're going to do it. And Uncle Tom's Cabin's on the list. Oh, and yeah. And so we Google YouTube, Uncle Tom's Cabin's cover, and his Animal Drive cover of Uncle Tom's Cabin came up and just blew our motherfucking doors off to the point where like, all right, well, now we have to change how we're going to do it. Cause we were basically going to do just an amped up version of the original. Now we have like an entire different idea. Like we're going to do it more grunge style and actually play at halftime. Like a halftime stomper type of thing, which I know is kind of hard to wrap your brain and ears around with me just saying it. But when you hear it, it'll make sense. But I digress. The Animal Drive version, man, blew my fucking door. I was listening to this shit like, yo, this is outrageous. And I looked up and here they only have an album and a half. They have one full album of originals and they have an EP that's 4 covers. But just to put it in perspective for you, the 4 covers on the album is Uncle Tom's Cabin, Skid Row, Monkey Business. What's that song? The Look. She's got the look. Who did that fucking song back in the 80s? You know the song I'm talking about though, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I do.
That one, and then No, it wasn't In Excess, but it was a band that sounds like In Excess. I know. Nah, she got the look. That one. Anyway, what's the other fucking? It was a Whitesnake. Oh, Judgment Day, which was a Whitesnake song. On it was the album after. It was
Roxette. She got the look.
Roxette. Okay, yeah. That. And dude, they're all those the covers are fucking awesome, and they're all like done heavy, you know what I mean? So I started like looking up information on this, and here the singer is this 28-year-old dude. I think his name is Dino something or other, and he's a 28-year-old dude from Croatia.
Oh, okay.
And he sounds like, man, he's sometimes like when he did Monkey Business, he sounded just like fucking Sebastian Bach. I mean, he got all kinds of fucking pipes on him. So that of course led me to listening to their album of originals, and it's a really good fucking album. And it sounds like some kids, man, that grew, like, imagine like a bunch of millennials that grew up on our music and put a band together, and that's what, like, so they have like modern sensibilities, but they're completely and 110% rooted in like 80s metal, and you know, and that's what they sound like, you know what I mean? So they don't sound dated per se, because the production is really good, and the way they riff and put their songs together is really good and stuff like that, but they don't sound like it's not like you turn it on,
kind of like an 80s version of Greta Van Fleet, kind of.
Yeah, like Greta Van Fleet was like a Led Zeppelin type of thing, or like even like Buck Cherry. Remember when Buck Cherry came out? You know, they were in the 2000s, but Buck Cherry just sounded like if AC/DC fucked Aerosmith. You know what I mean? Like you could see, like, they wore their influences on their sleeves, and that's what these guys.
Another one.
Yeah,
Bucket.
Rhino Bucket. They sounded like AC/DC a lot, didn't they? Rhino Bucket. But they came out back in the day, though, didn't they?
Yeah, but he states they leaned more toward like the whole Bon Scott singer.
Yeah. But these guys, yeah, man, Animal Drive, dude. But listen to, I'll send you a link to that fucking. When I heard that Uncle Tom's Cabin, I'm like, oh man, the pipe. Like, sometimes when you're gonna do something and you hear somebody else do it first, like the cynic in you wants to go, fuck that, you know, I'll fucking pull that out of the water. But I heard that shit and I'm like, well, may as well move on to something else, because somebody already crushed that shit, you know? So, yeah, definitely check those. I'll send you a link to that shit then. But
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
So you watched The Mandalorian then?
I did, yeah. Yep.
What do you think? What'd you think?
Oh. So I kept seeing, it's funny that you asked me to watch it before the show tonight, because I usually don't have the time, but I got like a semi half day today. So I was like, man, I kept seeing everybody on Facebook, everybody we know, like, you know.
Did the boss take you to see the dinosaur again?
It's funny. The boss is into the Mandalorian. Like, it's cool, because like he's such a fucking nutcase, and like I love him, but I can't stand him. Like, he's like a crazy uncle. Like, I want to choke him half the time, but like I enjoy talking to him other times. And like when he told me he was into the Mandalorian, it was cool, because now every week, you know, on Monday morning, it's like, hey man, did you see the Mandalorian? And we get to talk about it. But I kept seeing everybody on Facebook wowing the Mandalorian, and I'm like, it's only a matter of time before some dumb motherfucker, you know, just post a fucking spoiler. So
yeah, dude, if you like went on Twitter today, like the trending keywords like totally spoiled everything.
Yeah. So thankfully I'm not on Twitter. And
if anyone hasn't seen the last episode of The Mandalorian, you know, skip ahead probably a good 10 minutes or so, because we're gonna spoil the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Because brother Kyle gave me shit. He goes, you guys always like talk about shit and then spoil the hell out of it. And I'm like, well, you do say spoilers. He's like, yeah, what am I supposed to do though? Like fast forward it like 20 minutes? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, as a matter of fact, listen, Brother Kyle, Jed does a lot of work at putting timestamps in the description. So, you know, yeah.
I'm like, here's the news. Here's like a chunk of hour and a half. I'm like, here's the weird news. 10 minutes.
Well, that was it was pretty awesome. Like I mean, anybody that saw it that didn't immediately get like the chills at the end is just not any kind of even remotely any kind of Star Wars fan at all. Like that was just completely awesome.
Well, there's a lot of people complaining about it because people complain. So
what are the give me the complaints? What are the complaints?
Well, I mentioned this before when I was talking to Levy about it. I said, do we really need to have like the Skywalker in our Mandalorian, or can the Mandalorian be on its own without that whole story arc, and kind of interfering with it?
Yeah.
that was the one complaint that people don't want that the two to mix.
Well,
and the other one was the CGI. And I was like, the CGI was done really well, actually.
the only thing, and it's not even a complaint because it's going to sound like a complaint, but it looked good, but it looked, everybody's been doing these with the face
deepfake.
What are they? Yeah,
Deepfake.
but you're right, but the app is called something. I can't remember what the app is called, but yeah, when everybody puts their own faces on shit. The only reason I got that feel out of it was because it looked like it was dubbed, like the lips didn't quite move the right way. But I mean, that's just being completely nitpicky as all hell. Like overall,
saying, Mark Hamill is not this young. That's your brain going, that doesn't work. Doesn't make sense.
But it was awesome though. It was awesome. Any way you want to slice it, it was awesome. And then the end, that was the only good thing that came out of the people posting like all hell about it, was that I knew to stick around for the credits.
Oh right, yeah. After the credits, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about that until I looked at the running time. I'm like, why are the credits like 8 minutes long? And I'm like, oh, there's more here. I'm like, okay, cool. But the ending of that, the after credit scene with Boba and whatever that chick's name is, forget her, what her name. I know the actress in Ming-Na Wen, but that's cool. Tons of people are saying they want posters of that shot right there of like her and him like on the throne.
When he sat down and she kind of sat on the arm of the chair, it was so fucking like, I looked over at Vanessa and I'm like, I want our living room to look like that. And I want to sit in the chair and I want you to sit on the fucking side of the arm of the fucking chair. Like that's what I imagine me and you look like in our living room when we redo the house.
Just have a dais where it's like 2 steps up, and everyone has to approach you from like a higher position.
Yeah. Like we'll come in and Jefferson, I'll shoot Jefferson, like he'll go, Mike, I thought you were dead. And then I'll shoot him. Yeah,
it was a good episode. I think the other thing, I mean, the whole Luke Skywalker thing at the end, they really knew what they were doing with that, because you knew who it was with the X-Wing, right?
Sure.
But then you saw him, and then it was all like in the closed caption TV set where there was no color or anything. But when it showed that first shot of him, and it was like the leading shot was like tracking on the saber. So it was like a green saber, and you're like, okay, there's the glove, there's the hood. That's definitely Luke.
Yeah.
So I was watching all these guys on YouTube. They're just like sitting there crying. They're like, oh my God, it's Luke.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's awesome, but it's not tier worthy awesome, but okay, but it's cool.
It was hair on arm standing up awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure, man.
But you know what was a really cool part, like I said, that a lot of people forget about now since like Luke jumped in, but when Boba and fucking the Mandalorian like walked into the bar and it was just the two of them and they were like scoping the joint out and everybody got quiet, I'm like, that's a badass moment right there.
Yeah, man. Well, that's the Mando and Boba. That's a good tag team.
Yeah. There was somebody did a comic. Did you see that like meme comic?
No.
He's like the Mandalorian looks over, but he's like, hey, you want to work together? And Boba's like, I work alone. I'm kind of like a solo guy, but he's like, what if we call ourselves the Man Bros? the Mandalorian
Bro.
bros. And he's like, God damn it, I'm in. And then they like whisper to each other, like, Mandalorian bros. But yeah, it was the whole Skywalker like chopping down all the fucking not battle droids, what they call them, dark troopers.
They're basically like, they reminded me of like bats, kind of.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, they had the
Star Wars
Vader
bats.
They had the old Vader helmet design too for their heads, which was kind of cool.
Yeah,
but yeah, that was a great episode. I thought the whole was every episode was great.
It was good. It was definitely like, it was one of those ones for sure when you get to the end of the episode, like you're bummed that it's ending, because you want to just keep digging into it.
The Bill Burr episode before that was really good too.
Oh, that's right. We never really got a chance to talk about that. I don't know what people. I don't really pay attention to a whole lot of to a whole lot of like the opinions on all that shit or whatever. But like, I thought Bill Burr did all right. Like, I thought he did all right.
Problem is that people always go like, "Oh, Bill Burr," in this episode of Star Wars, whatever. But think about, probably a lot of people that are watching that don't really know who Bill Burr is from like a comedy standpoint. They haven't probably like listened to him because they're probably either too young or, don't like that type of humor type of thing. Yeah. So him doing that acting, he did a really good job with his acting, like when they were in the cantina or the cafeteria, whatever you want to call it, and he was just like sitting there seething. Just trying to force himself not to shoot the face.
You could feel it. Definitely. I agree, because I was like, everybody did a great job with that scene, because you could definitely, because he wasn't even really. Well, he was saying a couple little things and shit, like rehashing with the, that officer was saying. I can't remember his name and shit, but you could tell what direction it was headed in. And even Pedro, right? The Mando, like, even he wasn't even saying anything, but you can even tell just looking at him, like, oh man, like, everybody has that friend where you're out with them and you're like, oh, what the fuck is he gonna say next? Like, I thought that whole scene was really well done. I really do.
Yeah. And there's, Bill Burr plays that character that, he's in that world where he's like, everyone's like in the world, they're like, oh, this is fucking cool and magical, and he's like the realist outside of it, going, oh man, really? Are you really gonna wear that helmet? He's like, doesn't that fucking stink in there?
Right.
The funniest line was, he goes, when he comes walking out in the different stormtrooper outfit, he goes, what would they say on Mandalore?
Bill Burr is a funny motherfucker, man. You ever hear any of his stand-up?
Oh, I listened to all of it. Yeah. Fantastic.
Did you ever hear the clip where he they had it was him and like 6 or 7 other comedians, and they were in Philly, and they were booing him before he even came out, and he came out and for like 12 minutes straight was just like berating Philly, and I'm a Philly guy, but he was just crushing them, and I fucking loved it. I thought it was hysterical, like when he was saying about like, yeah, your hero like is an imaginary, like he was crushing Rocky, and he was like, fuck you guys, I hope the Eagles never win a fucking Super Bowl. And the only reason that's funny is because they did win one after that, but like the whole thing was pretty fucking funny.
And he made sure that he was out there for his full time too. He'd say, okay, 5 minutes left.
5 minutes left. Yeah, 5 minutes left. Fucking motherfuckers, man. Yeah, right.
Yeah, some of the stuff that his like a lot of his stand-up was hilarious. The one where he said he was out on a date. He goes, and his date goes, I'm not racist, but there's a lot of Asians in this restaurant. And he's like, well, you had me at I'm not racist, but he's like, tell me more. He's like, this is gonna get good, whatever story this is gonna be.
I think that was the one where he's like, he goes something about it's all about where you put the motherfucker. You know, he's like black guys do it the right way. He's like, they put the motherfucker at the end. It's like, oh yeah, them Asian motherfuckers. He's like, but when you put the motherfucking Asians in, that's when it goes down a wrong path and shit. Yeah, it was all his shit was pretty good. But getting back to the episode, I thought that was a great episode.
Yeah, that was it. Like I said, the whole season was really good. The best part about that episode was that there was no Baby Yoda. Like Baby Yoda the episode off.
And it was fun. Yeah, it was fun. And you know what? Props to them for having the balls to do an episode without, you know, the Baby Yoda.
They must have got your letter.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, I came a long way, Jed. I came a long way from Baby Yoda hater to I've seen every episode of The Mandalorian. I'm caught up with everybody else. We'll
have to update the opening clip for the show.
Just, you know what, just do a bad dub, like where it's like, can I like baby, like, you know, just dub in I love Baby Yoda, but do it in your own voice, you know.
Yeah, chef, why do you sound so different? But cool. All right, you want to move on to the news?
One last thing, one last little detail I wanted to throw out there about the Bill Burr episode. So he didn't want to go in there and do the face scan thing because he was afraid that officer was going to recognize him because they had worked together years ago. Actually, I have two things to bring up about that scene. Number one, Mando. Does Mando have a name, by the way?
Yeah, and I have to look it up because I don't remember it.
Well, anyways, he goes in and he uses the scanner. So is that basically that's telling us like he's ex-Imperial?
His name is Din Djarin.
Oh, okay.
Now that was like one of the things that other people were bitching about that episode is that the Empire's or the Imperial security system basically just looks for known felons or known people, but anybody could use it. It's like if you're not wanted by the Empire, then you're open to all information that the Empire has in their computers.
Okay. Well, that led me up to my next one because I was thinking like, you know, Bill Burr, his character, he had said that he hasn't been with the Empire for I can't remember how many years and shit, but then like he was going to go in and use the scanner, and it's like, well, that's a fail on the Empire's IT department.
Yeah, it is.
Like, you know, a lot of times when you get fired from some company or you leave or some shit, like your password's fucking cooked, you know, the following day, and it's like this motherfucker's still, you know, getting into top secret shit or whatever. Like years later, it's like, Jesus, man, the IT department's been on vacation or some shit. Like, what's going on there, man?
Do you know though, right? But like, if you think about it, because like all these people have never worked in like a government position or anything.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to say it because I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but a certain individual that we know that works in the government system, he was just mentioning about how they still have Windows 95 on some of their computers.
Windows 95.
So, I mean, you kind of think of that, you know, if you go into an Imperial base, they might still have some shitty ass operating system still running.
Yeah. It'd have been funny if he pulled it up and it was Windows 95 on there. Like that shit would have been hilarious.
But yeah, I mean, even in my experience, I've seen a lot of government networks and stuff. They go under the same idea that if you're able to get into the facility and be in the facility, then you have access to stuff. Right.
And
it's the same situation with them. They got into the facility and, you know, didn't matter. And they were just, you know, scanning. I thought it was funny though. Boba Fett was like, he's like, oh, they might know my face or might recognize me.
Right.
You might say they've known my. But yeah, that's why I could laugh that whole thing off.
Okay, brother Kyle, you can rejoin us. So
he saw that shit. Like he was like on that right as soon as it dropped, like 1 second after it dropped.
Oh, sure.
He was watching that at 3:00 in the morning. To the news. So this was interesting. There's a cult digital artist named Beeple. He raised a record $3.5 million in the NFT auction So let me explain that a little bit. So in the Discord chat, I sent you a link to his auction art, and there's some of it that you'll recognize, I'm sure. Like I think like the Mario one was pretty popular, but it's been drifting around. The weird thing about this, well, I shouldn't say weird, the unique thing about this is that this NFT auction is based around, it's a crypto piece. So basically it's digital artwork, but you have like this NFT token that you purchase that basically says that you are the soul of this art, but it's all digital. So these high-end collection, what's that one that's over in Europe? I can't remember the name of it. There's like two big ones. Anyway, there's like those big, huge art house collections. So you can only do this like invite only. Like they invite you to this auction. People basically auction, they bid on your digital artwork. And this guy raised like what, $3.5 million, I think it was. Yeah, $3.5 million on his auction.
Crazy. Isn't
that crazy? It's
There's
like
it's strange shit in here, man.
Yeah, it's like the token. You're purchasing a token that says you are the original. You're like the sole owner, but it can be distributed like digitally to everybody still.
Yeah, it's weird.
And you see those prices, man?
Yeah, it's outrageous. I said the one with the vaccine coming out of Keanu Reeves' dick sold for $124,000. Just like Tom Hanks is punching the coronavirus. Is sold for $107,000. Like what on? It's just and he's raising money for what? For a purpose, or is this for him? Like this is
his art. Yeah, it's for him.
Yeah, so weird.
Celebrating it like the day that it happened. He was like he's like, wow, he's like $3.5 million. That's awesome. There was a quote here where he said that, he was doing like this everyday artwork type of thing where he would do like a single piece of art every day for like whole stuff. And this was like this past year, some of the ones that he had put out. But he had said, these pictures are all done from start to finish every day. The purpose of this project is to help me get better at different things. By posting the results online, I'm less likely to throw down a big pile of ass shit, even though it's most of the time I still do because I suck ass. But yeah, he's been working on this everyday's collection for 13 years, I think it was, or whatever.
That's wild. And he does one of these a day.
Yeah.
Good Lord. I mean, they're really good. Yeah, I do recognize the Mario one. Yeah.
But there's like a lot of political ones he was doing. Like the last one he sold at the election, that it would change. So if Trump won, it was like, him like in, it was like some type of like fiery hell type of thing. Like the whole place was on fire. And like if he lost, then he was like a part of a pig or something being eaten or some crap. I forget how it goes. But that one was like, that one was unique because it was the first digital token thing that he sold. That was like, I think 65 grand or 35 grand just for that one.
Yeah.
But now he did this whole auction and now he has like 3.5 million out of it. Crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
The fucking Java after pretty fucked up.
Yeah. I just got some really
shit.
I mean, it's all good. It's all good artwork. How about the one with Disney Plus? It's like Mickey with like 7 nipples or some shit. Look at this, man. It's so weird.
$123,000 for that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, could you imagine selling your digital art?
I can't even imagine selling my digital art for $20. That's hard enough as it is.
But yeah, I want to include that into the news because the secure token, kind of like a Bitcoin in a way, the way they were selling it.
Yep.
Let's see. What was next? Levy's game that he wanted to play so badly. Sony removed Cyberpunk 2077 from the PlayStation Store due to controversy surrounding console and offered refunds to all the people who actually did purchase it from PlayStation Store. So the PC version is like, if you have a good enough graphics card, it looks really nice. But if you have a PlayStation 4 or whatever, it looks like shit.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were complaining about it, and there's like all these bugs, and A lot of people were saying about how there's some bugs that corrupt the save file, so you get so far in the game, wipes it out, and you gotta start over. All this other shit. And I played it, a little bit of it. It was okay. It wasn't like, a fucking The Rapture or anything like that where it was fucking amazing, but I just don't see what the hype's all about. But
yeah, I haven't really been following along because I have no intentions of playing.
It is like this thing they've been hyping it up for like 10 years or more, how great it's going to be. And it's just one of those things where they released it and it's done. Just too many bugs.
Yep.
One of the there was no trailer. One of the announcements during that whole Studios investors conference was that there's going to be a new Fantastic Four movie is in the works.
Yes, I did see that.
I was going to ask you, do you think that's too soon? Do you think it's too soon since the last one was a failure, or do you think it's good timing right now?
I think that I don't think I care when the last one came out because I think I'm viewing this more under the umbrella of like this is the MCU. So right. I don't think it's a bad time. I think they needed like I didn't want to wait too long to see the X-Men and Fantastic Four and all these other characters that they're probably going to end up bringing in. So now I'm all right with it. So I saw besides the Fantastic Four, I saw that they announced Gore the God Butcher. And for the new Thor and Beta Ray Bill, I think was also announced.
Yeah.
So that's
Did
cool.
You read any of that Thor?
To be totally honest with you, a lot of the Thor that I caught back in the day was only like when he crossed over with, I didn't actually read Thor, like I just knew of him from Avengers and like, of course, the Infinity Gauntlet saga and all that stuff, but I didn't follow Thor per se.
I have the trade paperback that like kind of rotates around all of that thing with Gore the God Butcher.
Yeah,
if you're interested, I can put it on Jetflix for you.
Yeah, I would check that out. Yeah, I heard. I was like, the only thing I know about Gore the God Butcher was from like I follow this the Comics Explained channel, and he just recently did a video on Gore the God Butcher.
Nah, it was a really good series, like really good storyline. It was really well done. Good story. Yeah. It's actually Christian Bale being that character is actually kind of cool. Yeah,
I dig it. Looking forward to it.
The other news was, this is interesting, is that Indiana Jones 5, right? Indiana Jones 5 will be directed by Logan's James Mangold, and this will conclude Indy's story. So we're going to have like a Logan version of Indiana Jones.
That's interesting.
Isn't it?
Well, because the whole, like the Indiana Jones, the whole, even, the fourth one, but all the Indiana Jones ones, I mean, they were awesome movies and it was action packed and it was comedy and stuff involved, obviously. So to put that in the, like, looking at that through Logan colored shades, is like, man, I don't know, like, because Logan, like, to this day, like, I don't know if I could watch Logan again. Logan just put such a fucking pit in my stomach, you know what I mean? Because but then again, like Logan and the X-Men in general, like whether or not you think those movies sucked or not, like they weren't as comedic or in that same vein of action as like Indiana Jones was, so it's kind of hard to like. So what are we saying? Are we saying that we're going to see the death of Indiana Jones? Is that what we're saying here?
I'm thinking so, because they said that no one will ever play Indiana Jones except Harrison Ford. So if this is going to conclude with quotes around it, Indy's story, I'm more than certain that he's going to die.
I would just like to see him ride off into the sunset and just put an end to it.
Yeah, but still, I mean, if it's done in the vein of Logan, I can see that by the same director. I can see it being the same way,
I can't, man. The death of Logan was tough, man. I don't want it, man. I don't want to see the death of Indiana Jones. Tired of watching, like, because as like, what? It's like you look at it in like the way I look at it sometimes is like, fuck, man. Every time something like that happens, I feel my age and I feel myself getting older because, like, when I watched Logan die, like it's like, man, the fucking Wolverine, he's all old to begin with, and then he fucking dies at the end of the movie, and Professor X is like Alzheimer's and shit, and then he dies, and it's like I'm watching like, well, I grew up with these characters, and when I grew up with them, they were all in their prime, and now I'm watching them drop one by one, and it's like you know what I mean? It's so you watch it, and then in the grand scheme of things, your own mortality starts creeping into your head because you know, this guy's going to be writing my movie next.
I think it's more like a closure. You know, it's like you get closure on that character.
Yeah,
it's I go back to that movie Logan every now and then just to watch that whole car scene when he fucks up those dudes.
Oh, it was great right in the beginning when he had the it was a great scene. Well, because you knew right when you saw that was right in the beginning, and it was like, all right, so this is definitely R-rated. Like we're watching some real shit here. This ain't some hokey fucking comic book shit, you know. Man,
it's good stuff. And when what was her name? The X-23. What was her real name? What's the character's name? Shit, I forgot her name.
The Laura, not Laura. Yeah, Laura.
When she starts fucking up all the Reavers and shit too, that's a good scene too. Yeah, there's a lot of good scenes in that movie.
Oh, that whole dude, it's a great movie. And if anybody asks me for my review of it, I'll tell them it's great, 5 stars. But it was just you don't leave there feeling good,
right? You
don't leave there feeling good. You leave there feeling like you just left a fucking funeral.
Yeah.
You know,
so I mean, Harrison's Ford, he's fucking old. Man, he can't be riding around on a horse anymore, doing action scenes and shit and stuff. So I mean, this is good to conclude it if that's what people want to see. The last movie sucked compared to the rest of them.
And Dad is dead. Junior, yeah, fucking A, dude. Let's move on. I'm getting depressed.
I remember my Charlemagne. No. Anyway, so this is probably my favorite bit of news, and because I love Legion so much, is that there's an Alien TV series officially on the way from Legion showrunner Noah Hawley, and it'll be set on Earth. And this guy's been talking about this for like a while now, back before the Fox Disney merger, about his whole plans for an Alien TV series. It was supposed to originally, I think, be on FX, but I don't know where it's going to be, if it'll be on Disney Plus or what. But did you watch any Legion at all?
I didn't. I know you said that it was one of the best series you've seen in a long time. So
yeah, and it's so,
being an X-Men fan, I shouldn't watch it.
It's so like artistic and it's really different and well done and stuff. And he has it right. He's like, if you have a story about characters and stuff, and you know, it's about like the aliens or whatever, he's like, you take the aliens out. He's like, and then you have the characters. He's like, what's all about them? What's the story with the characters and where they are? He's like, and then you have a really good story based around that. He's like, and then you throw the alien back in. He's like, now you have a really good story with aliens on top of it. So instead of, you know, and just his style, like his directing style, it's like, I love it. I cannot wait for this shit. So I'm really excited to see this.
I was a fan of the Alien franchise. That should be good. Should be into that.
Like I really wanted to like Alien vs Predator 2 because it was on Earth and stuff, and that was like probably one of the worst movies they did.
Yeah,
but Alien vs Predator, the first one, actually one of the better Alien movies too. So
yeah, I dug that one.
And that's it for the news. And Levy, before he left for Mount Everest, decided that he was going to let us in on some weird news.
By the way, real quick, speaking of Levy, he posted like an hour ago.
How high up is he? How high did he get? Did he leave base camp yet?
It's amazing that they have Wi-Fi in the Himalayas.
You know, he must have paid a lot for that satellite phone just to be able to do that. And it gets Disney Plus on top of it.
I hope he posts one more time, like right around when we're signing out. Man.
So for his weird news that he was so graciously to provide to us, the first one is called "Fuck That." An Australian man explains why he let a spider the size of his face live in his house for a year.
There's no good reason, but I bet you're about to give it to me.
I'm going to give you an image. That's what I'm going to give you in Discord.
What the fuck? Where is this?
Australia.
That is the scariest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life.
We have to have Alan comment about this story.
Yeah, man. What the fuck? Look at that.
No, in Australia, it's Jake Gray said that the reason he's been watching her grow over the last year is that they're gigantic huntsman spider. So they said that that the huntsman spiders don't, attack people, and they eat like, pests like cockroaches and shit like that. So he let the spider live in their house for a year, and he's still there. And let me read this. This is the best line of the whole article. He goes, he and his family named the spider. They named the spider Charlotte in order to calm down their son Jack and daughter Bella's apprehensions about having the spider live with them all.
Oh man, dude.
Seeing her eating an Asian house gecko was a highlight.
I thought you were going to stop with seeing her eating an Asian. Oh my wait, and it could. I wonder how big that actually is. I mean, you could see, like, dude, that's get it out of here. Good God, no, get it out.
It's as big as his face, so I'd say it's probably the size of your hand.
But I mean, how do you know it's just not going to
your hand? That'd be like a mutant spider if it's the size of your hand.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Like, dude, how do you just like, what do you wake up and it's just like kind of sitting on you, like looking at you? I mean, I know you say they don't attack humans, but I don't say nothing about them just not crawling the fuck across you while you're sleeping.
The spiders, as well as growing up to be around 6 inches, are also very fast.
That is disgusting.
Not only you have a large spider, but you have a fast, large spider.
Yeah, right. Nah, dude, I'm getting the fucking.
Dude, it's not that the fact that it's living in your house. It's like, turning the lights out and wondering where the fuck that spider is when you turn the lights out.
Yeah, I don't.
And then,
I'm not.
And then worrying about where it's at when you go to turn the lights back on.
Like on the light switch. If I was that spider, I'd be fucking with people. Yeah, but you get fucked up that way though. Nah, dude. Whoever this dude is deranged. This dude you're talking about. Thank you, Levy. Thank you, Levy.
Let's see. Let me bring up the next article. Anyway, the name of that article was "Fuck That."
Yeah, it's fuck that is right.
Twitch drops the ban hammer. So Twitch bans the use of the words simp, incel, and virgin in their live streaming. Yeah, virgin.
Simp? What's a simp?
I think that stands for simpleton.
And what was the one in between?
Incel, INCEL.
INCEL. What, like an imbecile? Incel? No, what is
it? Involuntary celibate. A frustrated virgin who feels as if the world owes them sex. Is right. Incel. Apparently, the people have been using that as insults from like a lot of like videos and stuff, derogatory statements about another person's perceived sexual practices. So it's a review of policies they're adding, like things that include things like blackface, swastikas, and the Confederate flag were being banned under hateful images.
Well, I mean, I can understand, but like simp. I don't know, dude. There's a very fine line anymore between like being tasteful and like not being a dick and stuff, and then just going over the fucking deep end with.
Yeah, I think it's like, if you use it in a sentence and everything, it's all right. But if you start like insulting people with that terminology, then they're like, well, that's banned.
Right.
Kind of like like if someone like Tyler said, you said, okay, boomer, over and over again. And to the point where you're like aggravated with it. You don't want to go back on Twitch anymore. So I'm sure they want to keep having people go on their platform.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that'll take effect January 22nd. The next article and last article was actually almost as good as the Spider one. This one's called Man Wins Lawsuit. A man whose parents threw out his porn collection wins lawsuit against them. The plaintiff hopes to be awarded $75,000 for the destroyed property.
Oh my God. How much porn did he have?
So where were we here? What was the guy's name? The guy's from Michigan. He sued his parents. Paul Maloney and Beth and Paul Working. Oh, wait, sorry. U.S. District Judge Paul Maloney. Beth and Paul Working will have to pay their son David, 42, as much as $75,000 for destroying the porn.
I like your sneaking the age in there.
So apparently he got divorced. I kind of see why. Moved back in with his parents' house, right? And he went to look for like some boxes of his porn, which he was missing 12 boxes of pornographic films and magazines.
12 boxes is worth $75,000. Yeah.
So,
man. All right.
His dad apparently confessed in the email to destroying. He said, "Frankly, David, I did you a big favor in getting rid of all that stuff." Let's see. They tried to say that there was like illegal stuff in there, like minors and stuff like that, but the found it and they said there was nothing in there at all that was illegal.
Yeah.
Here we go. Working's porn collection that was entered into the court record showed it included 1,605 individual titles of pornographic DVDs and VHS tapes, and at least 56 sex toys and paraphernalia.
I'm speechless. Like, I mean, I can see being mad about like your parents throwing your porn out, but like to really follow through with a lawsuit.
Yeah,
that shit. That's Jesus.
Well, imagine this. Imagine you got divorced, right? And you had your Transformers collection in boxes.
Right.
And you moved back into your mom's house. And then you came home the one day and you're like, "Where's my Optimus Prime and my box of MPs?" And your mom's like, "Listen, you should just be happy that I threw those old toys out. It's time to grow up, Michael."
Well,
would you sue her for the $25,000 that you just lost in MPs?
Well, I mean, that's a little different because it's not like
it's a collection.
Transformers ain't detrimental to your like.
Still a collection.
Yeah, it's. My mom's smarter than that.
But would you sue her?
Yes, I would.
You would. So he won the lawsuit. It was a $75,000 lawsuit. The stuff was valued at $25,000, but for pain and suffering, I guess it got the extra $50,000.
Pain and suffering. Oh my god!
And that's all the weird news for this week.
Great.
Thanks, Levy. Hope you get to the top.
Levy.
Yep. Be safe. On to toy news, sir.
Toy news. All right, so I don't have much in the way of any kind of new reveals or anything. Oh no, I do.
Oh
yeah, I just last minute kind of checked out the Dame Chalk page, and there is some stuff. Let me see if there's anything here of. Oh, here's some shit. Put this in the chat. So there's a color test shot of your what's his face? Firmament? Is that what they're calling him? The dive bomb? Oh, Kang Soy's dive bomb?
Sure, whatever. I don't hardly even pay attention to those names anymore.
Yeah. So there's a picture there of the three of them together in alt mode and in robot mode.
Discord or Facebook?
I put it in Discord.
Oh, okay. It's a link. Okay. I was looking for the picture. Got it. All right. Oh, okay. Wow, that thing's big.
Here's another one.
The wingspan, man. Whew.
There's another one close up.
Where's this at? Does it say?
Yes, it is at, let's see, third party figures at SGC 2020.
Wow. Are his wings translucent or aren't they? They seem like they are a little bit.
I think what you're seeing. Oh yeah. Yeah. I think they might be a little bit, because you can see like the thing that they're attached to. You can kind of see, unless we're seeing reflections. We might be seeing reflections on the glass window, like in front, like, you know what I mean, in front of it. And
wow. Did you check out that Megatron too? Are you gonna put that in the news?
Yeah, that Megatron, that like tank Megatron. Yeah. Except that I don't know what the fuck it is.
STC-02.
STC-02. What the fuck?
Huh. Well, anyway, back to the Kang's toys. That's pretty awesome. And I don't know if is that one big gun that he got? Wow. Or was it combination? No, I don't know if it's a combiner or the others, but that's huge, man. Whew. That wingspan on that figure, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. Yeah,
that's big.
Looking forward to new reveals. I want to see the other three, I want to see the other three figures. You know what? And now, the more I'm thinking about it now, because I had to remember, like, when these started getting revealed, remember these were Toy World reveals. And so my initial plan was like, well, Toy World released Devastator fucking 17 different times in different color schemes and all that kind of shit. Now they're like put out under Kang Toys, which is apparently linked to TFC, and TFC is not one to really re-release a combiner, because they've done. Was that confirmed that they're actually linked to TFC, or is that just assumption? No, I'm pretty sure. I it's one of those things, like I can't confirm it because I don't know where my sources were, but I believe I've seen that places like that they're linked, and now I'm seeing it here that the TFC Kang Toy and Sci-Fi, which is what was that jet? That No Sky 2035 jet?
Yeah, the Chinese J20.
Yeah, and all those are together in the same display.
Oh, okay.
Which is these links that I sent you with this Megatron. By the way, that Megatron, that tank Megatron, that like the Rolling Thunder Optimus Prime.
Yeah,
the TFC one. So that was because I looked, because they said that this was STC-02. So I looked up STC-01 and it was that Rolling Thunder Prime.
Okay.
So this is the second in that line.
That's really big too, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a big boy, man. Yeah.
Oh, did you take notice to the crab hanging on the glass?
I did. Yeah, I did see the crab in the background. Yeah. Yeah. And there's another picture. If you keep scrolling, there is. Wait, where is it? It's right after the group shot of the Predacons. I guess that No Sky 35 jet. It looks like they're doing a new one, and it looks like a helicopter.
I see that.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool, man. I don't know. It's like seeing something different. I've never seen these characters before, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And sorry, I'm looking at the different. So like the picture after that helicopter one, where it's just a robot standing next to some type of
like dragon bird looking thing.
Yeah. What's that?
That's Cutthroat from the not the Predacons, the Terracons, because they're doing that Terracon set. Yeah. Okay. I was thrown off by that at first. I'm like, are they doing a Deathsaurus? But I'm like, it don't look like Deathsaurus. And then I kept looking at the bird in the background. I'm like, that's their Cutthroat.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
So, they're doing some things.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So anyways, going back to my point about the Predacons, now it's like, it's a TFC set, basically. Now I'm kind of thinking like, I don't know, man, maybe I should like jump in on these now. Because I haven't been disappointed at all by anything I've seen, but I don't think there's going to be a million different versions of this. I think we're going to get this, and this is going to be it.
I'm not sold on that this is TFC related. I mean, maybe it's in the same type of display case, but I have a feeling that it's still like, not TFC. Because I remember seeing that Kang Toys promotional video that they put out about how they were like different artists and stuff like that under the one label thing. But maybe you're right. I know for sure that J20 is definitely TFC, but I agree with you. I think you probably should jump in on this, but because of just the quality, the size, and the price of everything.
Yeah.
Because they're really good figures, but we still don't know how good the combined mode will be and if that's what you want or not. I myself am buying it for just the individual beast modes. So,
I was impressed. I was impressed enough by the individual modes so far, from like the two that I handled, like when you brought them over, and then this dive bomb. Like, I'm impressed with them enough that I'll buy them, and if I would buy them, I'm saying, for like, if I put it together and the combined mode's awesome, that's great. But like, I would be totally cool with having those in individual mode as well.
Yeah. Yep.
So if I keep those for individual mode, then I can I'm gonna have to try to dump that MMC one off somewhere.
I think the hardest part is to look past the tempo paint with all the letters and numbers if you're not into that type of style.
You know what? Fans Hobby has all that shit, and it doesn't really bother me a whole lot.
Okay.
Like, at all. Yeah, it doesn't really bother me at all. I don't like when Toy World put out the fucking jazz that said Toy World with a across the fucking windshield. That bothered me. You know what I mean? But that was like right in your. That was some G2 shit. You know, that was like right in your face. Like, you know, right. the Tampo stuff really doesn't. That don't really bother me a whole lot at all. So yeah. So some new stuff. So that's cool. At the buzzer.
Yeah.
Right in time for toy news.
I thought you were gonna say there was like a color rendered of Virtus. I'm like, what?
Yeah. You knew that wasn't. We'll keep laughing about it until we keep laughing about it again. You know, it's just gonna be like, it's comical how long it's going on. Okay, so in other toy news, DX9 is apparently closing its doors.
Do you think
I'm not going to read the post, because the post is one of those like translated from you know, whatever, Chinese or Japanese or whatever to English.
I can translate the Chinese for you. You ready? Yeah, I can do this. It's no problem. So I didn't get paid, so I quit.
Right. It seemed like a Zeta Toy World type of thing, right? Some dude, I posted it on the Reflector page, and some dude commented on it, and he said, "Keep your eyes out for DX10. It's a pop up. It's a pop up in a couple months." Yeah, I mean, I can see. I hope they pop up again somewhere, like, because I enjoyed a lot of their figures, some of which I still have. You know, some I don't anymore. But like, I never got a DX9 figure and opened it and thought, "Oh, this is crap." You know, like, I always thought that they put out pretty decent stuff.
I thought you weren't pretty critical about their Blitzwing?
No, KFC's Blitzwing.
Oh, KFC. Sucked. Okay.
No, I dig the DX9 Blitzwing. Actually, is what I ended up using for my Eagles for you know, when Jay did my Philly customs. He used G-Walt or G-Walt, whatever, however you pronounce it. That's the one that he used. But yeah, I thought he was cool, man. I thought he was cool. It was, you know, for the time, you know, I'm sure whatever fans will put one out, or somebody's going to put one out that's going to be better. But it was more of an IDW Blitzwing type of thing, which is fine.
Right.
But yeah, I thought, I don't know. And I have their Rodimus, which actually is the one that I use for my Flyers Prime, my Flyers Rodimus. I'm trying to think what other shit. I had the Astro Train, which I think you have now, don't you?
The Chugura or whatever it was called.
Chigger, yeah.
Chigura, yeah. I have that. Yep.
You know, and I know a lot of people. I never personally got my hands on it, but a lot of people really like their Omega Supreme. Oh, I have the Power Glide. I bought their Power Glide too. That was a really good figure.
I like their Omega Supreme. I like the a little bit more stylized Omega Supreme than the others.
So, and I know they had a bunch of other. Oh, I had the Mirage. Well, anyways, we don't have to go through every figure that we ever owned from DX9. But the point is, like, they were a pretty decent company that they were out for a while, and they put out a lot of stuff. And I think they did some Legends as well.
Well, isn't it there's like a lot of conflicting like people saying things about, but isn't DX9 basically part of like New Age?
Unique. I heard that too. New Age. No, they were like a sister company, I think, of Unique Toys.
Okay.
But yeah, I heard there was some kind of link to New Age as well.
So they're basically focusing on like legend stuff now instead.
I guess, or I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be one of those things like Zeta, like, you know, all right, we're leaving DX9, but we're going to pop up elsewhere and, you know, do other characters. I'm not sure what they're going to do.
And if you think about it, their last combiner piece, drag strip, they called it drag strip. So they're probably like, fuck it, we're out after that. They don't care if they got sued or not.
See, I thought they called him. I thought he was called like Giuliano or Giuliano or some shit.
Was it though? I thought they had the word drag strip in there too.
Oh, they had it right on the box.
Let me look, see if that's right or not. But yeah, I think they did.
I got this shit out. That's crazy. They said, "Fuck it, we're out of here. We're out." You know.
Let me see if I can find the box.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, it was Giuliano drag strip.
It's like it was like drag strip is his last name.
Wait, it was. Yeah.
Wow. Fuck it. Yeah, that's the ultimate fucking move.
Drop the mic.
Yeah. Funny. Huh. That's wild. Well, at least they stuck it out long enough to get the combiner out for everybody instead of like, you know, fucking all the fans in the middle of it. But yeah, so I guess we'll see. We'll find out soon enough because I'm sure we haven't heard the last of them.
Or maybe we have.
Yeah.
So that just leaves Fans Toys and X Transbots as the main MP third party vendors.
I mean, you got Fans Hobby.
Make toys and stuff.
Fans Hobby.
Yeah, but isn't Fans Hobby kind of doing their own thing?
Well, they're doing MPs though.
But I mean that like mainline MP stuff.
What, like characters that aren't like you're talking season 1 through 3?
Right.
Yeah. What, X Transbots, Fans Toys, and I guess we'll see what goes on with Make Toys. But if you're talking prolific, yeah, it's down to XTB and Fans Toys basically.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of let me hang on a second. I'm gonna pull up my pre-order list and see who's all in there. Like, 'cause you forget sometimes.
Oh, what about MMC?
Oh, Ocular Max. Yeah, there's Ocular Max. So that's good. Man, if we're down to only 2 companies, I'm gonna be like 75 years old before this motherfucker gets wrapped up. Seriously. All right, my pre-orders. Let's see who all is in here. X Transbots, Make Toys. Oops, get this shit out of here. Fans Hobby, yeah, Ocular Max. Fans Toys, yeah. Huh. Yep. Well, I mean, that's what we said was going to happen. Not we, as in you and I, but like as a whole, we all kind of thought, well, the cream is going to rise to the top and everybody else is going to kind of disappear. And that's basically what we have happening at the moment. So,
yeah. Yep.
And speaking of X Transbots, and that brings me to my final piece of toy news. And it's not necessarily a piece of toy news as much as it is just X Transbots put their pre-orders up for the trailer and for some extra like parts and accessories which are separate.
Right.
And there was major outrage across the fan community over this move.
This is like when we used to joke around about how the final main bot would be like $335.
Yeah, and you know what? We were right.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, hang on 1 second. Oh, hey now. Wait, turn sideways. Let me see how big your ass is. Oh, hey now. Sorry, Vanessa just busted in and wanted to show me what I'm going to be masturbating.
I thought you were talking to me at first. I'm like, why do you want me to turn sideways?
she's in there trying stuff on, so she just had to slide in and man, it's going to be a long couple of weeks. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh, it's when we used to joke around about
putting your present on layaway.
Yeah. Absolutely right. Yeah.
Only 3 more payments.
So, dude, you know what? It's funny that you say that because, all right, so Motormaster was $180, right? Or no, not $180. What were they? $130. And the trailer is $230. And the accessories were $75. So that's a total of, let's see, $360 plus 75 is 4. So basically, like, Motormaster is going to be like $435.
Wow.
It's just, but putting it in perspective. So shout out to our boy Brink. Brink's a nice guy, but he put this graph together.
Yeah.
Oh,
it really lays it out really nice. It's very informational, and it kind of tells you, it shows you, visually what everybody's been talking about and how you shouldn't judge a book before, you fucking read it.
Yeah. And it's I think it's everybody's got such a short memory, like I can see it from both angles. Number one, like if you look at it on this graph and you remember, like, holy shit, Breakdown was only $40. Like Breakdown and Wild Rider were $40 and $60. That's $100. You paid $100 for Breakdown, for DX9 Breakdown, and $105 for Breakdown from Fans Toys. So you got like 2 Stunticons for one if you were going the X Transbots route.
Right. And that was the reason for that, was because they wanted to beat out the KO of their designs that were going to come out.
And then even their third and their fourth one was $70 a piece, which was way cheaper than the counterparts. So it's like they kind of, it reminds me of like a football contract where like the contract is backloaded, where you know what I mean? You're getting all the productivity of the player in their prime for a low price, but then when they're fucking broken down at the end of their career, that's when you're paying them $25 million a year, and it's kind of like what people forgot how cheap they got all the parts at the beginning.
I like to kind of reference it more like, you're leasing a car really cheap, but then if you want to buy it at the end of your lease, there's like that big balloon payment at the end.
Right.
Yeah, it's just like, well, I was getting it cheap for 3 years, but now I have to pay up if I want to keep it.
But the thing is, like, so even the full price of it, so we're paying $675 for the entire combiner, which is going to be like a 20-inch combiner, MP scale. Now, I paid probably $650 for TFC Hercules because each one of those individual fucking Constructicons was $100, and I'm not. You laugh, and I know the only reason I don't feel terrible about admitting it is because I know I'm not alone. Yeah, I know Nate got them, and I think Levy might have got them too. And then you got each one for $100, and then you had to get the add-on kit at the end to make it more G1 accurate. So you paid $650 for this 12-inch fucking Devastator that would barely stand up. And it's like here's the only thing that I think that X Transbots did wrong here was that the amount of the trailer and the accessories like caught everybody off guard. I mean, that's over $300 extra. And I don't think everybody knew it was going to be that much more expensive than they thought they were going to get a cheap combiner,
like good quality cheap combiner that was like, a third of the cost of all the others, and they're like, surprise.
But surprise, motherfucker.
But if you think about it, if you just wanted the individual bots, no hair off your back, right? If you didn't ever want to make the combiner.
Like, honestly, like, I could quit now because I was planning on getting the Fans Toys one for combined mode anyway. So yeah, like I could quit now, and I could, let me see, 130 and 70, so that's 200, 270, 330, so I get the whole team for $370, which is ridiculously cheap for a team, for a 5 robot team, and they end they made it possible to do that, like all, with the other two, with DX9, and although DX9 is fairly cheap, but DX9 and Fans Toys, like they're roping you into having to buy the combiner stuff.
Right.
Where X Transbots is actually giving you the option to either get the combiner or just have your bots individual and you don't got to worry about it.
And then there's like one step further is like if you want all the extra accessories, you know, the faces, the shells for the cars, you know, the effects and stuff, the gun or whatever, it's like $75 even more. So if you just want the basic combiner set, you're paying for the trailer.
Yeah, that's all. That's also true. I mean, I know it sounds like we're being X Transbots apologists right now, but it's like, you know, it's options, and
it is. It's more options you're getting than if you went with another company at this point.
And you're still beating the Fans Toys even if you buy all that shit, you're still beating the Fans Toys price.
Right. Like what was Motormaster? 210, 220
for Fans Toys?
Fans Toys, yeah.
180. So here's the Fans Toys price breakdown. Breakdown Wild Rider 105 each, and then Drag Strip 130. Their Motormaster is 180. Now here it says Dead End is going to be 230. And hang on, he has a note here. It says it has been rumored that Dead End will include combiner pieces, and it would be the price of Road King. This price is speculated based on current retail price of Road King 2020 reissue. So the 2020 reissue of Motormaster must have been $230. So that's what they're
it's $50 more on top of it.
Yeah. So if that ends up being accurate, you're going to end up paying $750 for your Fans Toys combiner. Menasor and X Transbots is going to beat that by $75.
Interestingly enough, the price of the accessories.
Yeah. So, you know, I don't know, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. When I saw the price of the trailer and another thing, I believe that even X Transbots at some point, and I can't confirm it because I don't have a photographic memory. I would have to go back and actually find the post, but I feel like I saw somewhere where the accessories and shit was going to come with the trailer.
Probably.
So if they misled everybody, like I could see people being slightly pissed off about that or whatever. But like if you take a step back and you look at everything in the grand scheme of things, and you see you're getting a 20-inch combiner with all that shit for $200 or for $675 compared to what you're getting elsewhere, and it's really not that bad, you know.
I'm not real happy with X Transbots when it comes to their pricing. I mean, you know, the whole Dr. Egg thing I think is way overpriced. And I think if you really want that stuff, then you're going to buy it, you know, for that price. But I'm not, you know, that's like, if it was cheaper, I would bought it, but I don't think it's worth it, you know, to me, because that's, you know, that's not on my need to have list type of stuff. Yeah. But I did pre-order their Virtus like 3 years ago, and that was 130, I think, at the time.
Yeah, and, you know what? You might actually luck out because watch them release it and like a reissue or some shit or whatever, and it's like if you try to get it now, it's end up being super expensive. Yeah, is that pre-order still up anywhere?
Is it on TCP yet? I think it might be.
I'm gonna look it up right now and see if it's still up.
Yeah, let me look too.
Oh no, it's still available. You can still pre-order it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, $130.
So if they like come out with like, you know, saying Virtus is going to be 200 or whatever, then I hope my pre-order price still you know, is locked in.
Yeah.
And I don't have to pay $70. But like Lock, right? That was 160.
Right.
So that's $30 more than, you know, the Virtus. But then again, that's 3 years ago. So if you tack on $10 a year, that's, you know, it's still a little like overpriced, but
well, and you're probably actually getting more bot with Springer because he's going to be a larger scale. You know, Cup was a little bit smaller. You know,
compared to Springer.
Yeah. I
always thought Springer and Cup were like on the same height.
I always thought that until everybody started releasing their Springers, and their Springers were all like MP10 height.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Allen, Unique Toys Allen, and Apache, the Fans Toys Apache, and who the fuck else put a Springer out? Oh, Oculamax. And everybody's was like MP10 height.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I always saw him like kind of more, Cup is like Ironhide height, and that's always the height that I kind of thought that Springer was, but apparently I was wrong.
Yeah, like the Make Toys Meteor, that EX version, that's 150. But yeah, like the whole X Transbot stuff with the trailer price and the accessory pricing, I'm like, it's overpriced. It's definitely price gouging at that point. So, I mean, even though it might be cheaper than the others, I mean, it's still overpriced in my book. It's kind of shitty, They didn't have to make it that much money. They don't have to justify it that way. But I mean, the same thing with like the Dr. Egg. It's just a little bit too much for me. That's like trying to pay like Play Art's charging like $120 for a 6-inch figure. Just like, it's just too much, to kind of put you over that. And I think that's for a lot of people. A lot of people felt the same way. But then there's the people who either follow through with it and they don't buy it, or they just complain about it and they buy it anyway, or they buy 3 of them and they say it's great.
Yeah. I probably, I'm like, I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have like, sponsorship. That definitely helps out a little bit. I mean, it's not a ton, but it helps,
Sure. Yeah, it's like you're right on that line.
Right.
You're kind of balancing which way do you fall.
Yeah. And then you got to play the game sometimes too. Like I could have just not gotten them, and then who knows? They show up on next year's Black Friday sale, and they're selling for 120. You know what? Out of spite, I'll just buy more of them. I'll buy 2 more. Like, fuck that.
You're like, fuck it. I'm this far, and might as well keep going.
Motherfucker's got 5 eggs.
Meanwhile, 2 years from now, Fans Toys comes out with their version. I'll be buying them off you for $50 a pop.
Nah, because I mean, how much better? You're not really gonna do better. You're not going to do a better Quintus on.
Do you know the one thing that kind of I think that failed for me when it came to that with the whole motorized light up, voice chip thing?
Yeah.
For those is I would have wished if there was a version where he hit the button and they just oscillated through each face laughing like they do in the movie.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, that's right.
That would have been a good selling point. At that point, I've been like, I really might need that just to have that so I could watch that.
What do they say? I mean, obviously guilty or innocent or whatever.
Yeah.
Or that's right. He didn't even say guilty or innocent. That was the prosecutor.
Mm-hmm.
Innocent.
Yeah.
I gotta see if I could borrow.
I think some of those voice chip stuff was from the Return of Optimus Prime, right? When he came back, I think there were some lines. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the ones they on the card, the Death Head actually was something about bringing Prime back. They didn't name him obviously, but it was definitely a line from that cartoon, that episode.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I could have done without all that shit, I could have done without all that shit. I mean, it's cool, but it's like the Rumble thing, Rumble and Frenzy, that Oculus Max Rumble and Frenzy. It's like, once you see that video of the pile drivers, it's like, are you ever really going to do that?
Nope.
I'd be willing to bet 99 out of 100 people never even put the batteries in that motherfucker, including me. I'm in that 99.
It's like just one of those gimmicks. You're like, I can do that, and you just never get around to doing it.
So one last question I have regardless of how we feel about this X-Trans Menasor and how they did their pricing and all that kind of shit, I do have a final question. Do you see it costing them people, costing them fans, costing them customers, like enough to cause any kind of significant damage to them as a company?
That's a good question. I guess it depends.
I don't know what the whole is, but I know what the comment section looked like, and the comment section looked pretty bad. But again, that goes to the Brother Kyle 30% cunts rule,
right?
The vocal minority.
Right. Everyone who complains the loudest is usually the most heard. Yeah. there could be just a whole ton of people out there that are going like, I'm all right with it. It's still cheaper than the other two. So,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
or some just like, some people are out there thinking, well, the ride lasted long enough and you figure that you're going to have to pay for it at the end. So they're okay with it. And then there's all those other people out there. They're like, I don't really need a fucking trailer or accessories. So I'm good with what I got.
All that being said, by the way, DX9 for a 2 foot, well, not 2 foot, but a 21 inch combiner for $560, man. And it looked like they hit it out of the park. Like I watched some reviews on it and it looked sturdy and everything. It looked pretty fucking good. Like, and they did it for $560. No wonder they're going out of business.
Yeah, right.
100 for all the limbs and then 160 for Motormaster and that 85-foot fucking trailer that he had. It seemed like that's pretty affordable, man.
Yeah. I guess it all depends on your point of view, how you want to look at it. You said there's people who complain about it and they'll just turn around and buy it anyway. So
I think I'm at the point where like, oh man, the MP collection. The MP collection will never be truly complete, but it's getting to the point where it's complete enough that like, you're so close to the finish line. You're like, fuck it. Just let me get that shit.
Yeah.
I'll just pay whatever,
right.
It'd be like, imagine like I get my, like I get all the Action Masters and then the Action Master Optimus Prime pops up on eBay and it's like a ridiculous fucking price, but it's the last one I need. And I'm just like,
I mean,
yeah, I'll take it.
If you look at it like, what's a good way to, like how I posted that question like a week ago or so. I'm like, if you had a chance to like get a limited edition of an MP, an official MP, of a character that would not be like mass run of something like, that they didn't do, and they probably wouldn't do a whole like 1,000, 2,000, however, whatever the run would be for an MP, right? 10,000, because they feel that like, customers wouldn't buy it because it's not a well-known character, like say Sandstorm, right? Or something like that. If you would pay like the extra money that it would be because it's a limited edition, and it wasn't as big as a run, would you still pay that $350, $400 for that character just so that you could complete your MP collection, or you wouldn't?
So one thing I didn't understand about your question, were you talking official MP?
Yeah, official MP.
Okay. So my answer still pretty much stands. Because
which is no,
because
right.
because I again it's the Nate Mike rule, like I had said in the chat. Eat exercise, eat your vitamins, and at some point, some third party will come along and make that character for you.
Maybe they won't. Because maybe Hasbro or its car or whatever puts pressure on them. It's because they have that out already, or something. But some people are impatient too, and they would really want to have it because they really love that character. Like let's say there's an official Blaster, right?
Yeah,
with his tapes, it's $400. Would you get it?
Nah, because I already got my KFC Blaster, right. and I'm fine with it. But let's say let's use a character that just has not been done yet.
All right.
Who the fuck? Let's say Alpha Trion. Let's completely out of left field because we need an Alpha Trion at some point.
Sure.
So let's put this into your scenario. So they announce Alphatron is going to be a ridiculous fucking price, right? And then I put the Nate and Mike rule into effect. I'm just going to exercise and eat my vitamins and stick it out for some third party company to eventually do Alphatron because I don't want to pay $400 for a Takara one, right? But then to add on, like you were just saying, well, what if let's hypothetically say that Takara and Hasbro finally figure out what legal have to take to completely crush third party and there's no more third party anymore. Well, then I'm probably saving up and I'm buying that Alphatron because now there's going to be no other option. And I know there's going to be no other option.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as the opportunity or the possibility, I should say, of a future option, then I don't. It's kind of like I haven't bought another Cliff Jumper because the X Transbots one and the Ocula Max one just wasn't really like grabbing me by the bipper, so I just never bought it. And then eventually, Fans Toys came along and threw out a Cliff Jumper silhouette. So now I know there's going to be that coming. So why bother spending my money on this now when there's a possibility of a better one coming?
I guess it depends on the customer too. Like someone who won't buy third party because they think it's a KO, so they'll only buy official. Or there's nothing. It's either official chug or nothing. There's also say people out there like, well, I'll just wait for the KO, but then they get a KO of it and it's a floppy mess. It's for $100 instead of $400. And then there's people that are out there that paid, whatever MP10 was, $200, and then MP43 came out and it was like $420. Is that what it was? What was the price of that?
Yeah, $430, $440, something like that.
$430, yeah. And they're okay with it. They're like, yeah, we'll buy another Prime for $400 and some dollars. Yeah. Even though they have, 3 other ones or whatever. So I guess it depends. I was just kind of thinking, would that be a nice line to have, an opportunity to buy? And the only reason why you're actually paying a little bit more money for it is because it's just a limited amount of things that are being released where they would kick back profit on it.
Yeah.
Or even a fun go for I
was just gonna say that. I was just gonna say that. Yeah. I was just gonna say that like a not a Kickstarter. What are we going? A crowdfunder.
Crowdfunding. Yeah.
They do crowdfunding like DevCon. You know what I mean? Or some fucking whack ass character. Dude. Yeah, it'd probably be in. But the thing is that they would have to offer other shit as what would their tiers be?
I think the best thing would be for something like that is that they had a certain amount of money that they needed for it to be produced, so that as more people pre-ordered it, the price would get lower and lower and lower. Yeah. So the more people buying, it would just lower the price more. That would incentively want to ask more people to get it so that the price could drop more for you and your friends. And if they hit that magic number, there's your 3 tiers of whatever it is over the number that they needed to produce it.
I like that idea, except that somebody's got to be, it's I always go back to music, but when you play a show, somebody's always got to be that first jerk off onto the dance floor, making an asshole out of themselves. Yeah, because it always takes that one to break the ice. Who's going to be who's going in on this $400 DevCon first? So that way I could jump in on the tail end and make it drop down in price.
Well, think of it this way, right? So instead of it being profitable for Hasbro to do this, so a Sentinel was what? How much was it?
A Sentinel was $350.
$350. Yeah. Right. And you look how crazy that went. Right. It just blew away all the numbers right off the bat.
Yeah.
What they could have did was they said, okay, well, the next tier, if we get 5,000 more people, we'll just lower it from 375 down to 300 or something like that.
Because rather than all that extra shit that they're sending, or on top of it, rather.
Yep. And then people would be more, because it could be like a troop builder type of figure if it was cheaper. And then and they initially needed, I think it was 5,000 backers, and it went to 20. So they're making crazy profit on it now, at that set price. So if they would just lowered it as each tier went up, then more people would have bought. If they would have got to another tier, they would lower it more, and before you know it, now you have everyone buying a Sentinel for maybe 150 or something like that, and they're still making whatever profit margin they were setting it at. But because people are greedy and companies are greedy as well, why lower a price when you already have more than enough people buying it?
That's an interesting idea.
If you crowdfund a character that maybe 10% of the collecting community wants, like say a Sandstorm or whatever, then that's one way to get people to actually go in on it.
I want a crowdfunded Slizardo.
Marvel Legends Slizardo.
Marvel, I will be all over it. Yep. You know what? Marvel Legends Slizardo would actually kind of scale well with MPs because remember he was big. Remember?
Oh yeah, he was big. He was
compared to humans, he was actually like a larger size.
That's right.
Give me a Slizardo, man.
Yeah. But anyway, that's all hypothetical.
So you want to move on to the Q&A?
Yeah. So let's see.
I have a quick. I got a quick funny thing while you're looking those up. So
Okay.
So Vanessa's best friend's son is always asking about Vanessa, like hitting on her, and he bought her a Starscream. He's like 18 or 19 or some shit. He bought her a Starscream for Christmas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's a shoe-in right there.
Yeah. It's funny. I laugh about it now until it happens.
So you're out. You're out in the cold.
I'm out in the cold. And there's Vanessa with her new 19-year-old boyfriend and her Starscream.
Yep. So
he's a guitar player, and he was like, because we were laughing about it because he said her friend said that he was on checking Vanessa's page out and he was sizing me up, and he's like, well, does he play guitar? Because he plays guitar, and Vanessa's friend was like, yeah, he does, and he was like, damn.
Yeah. Does he collect Transformers? I bet he doesn't. Actually, he does. He has a large collection in the basement of Detox. Damn it.
Oh, fucking funny, man. It's only funny because he's a kid.
Well, does he design T-shirts? He does, actually. Oh, God, beat me again.
He throws out one. Well, does he have fucking giant size meat beaters like this?
And you're like, son? He's like, Dad?
I say to her friend, like, oh shit, you were at the Armored Saint concert about 20 years ago, weren't you? Oh man, Armored Saint. All right, let's do the Q&A.
All right. So SLB Vlog writes in, no real question, just want to wish everyone in the Blackout and Shout community happy belated Hanukkah, Merry Christmases, and Happy New Year. Fuck you, John Bailey. Fuck you, Rob Liefeld. And a giant fuck you to 2020. Well, thanks, SLB Vlog, for writing in.
Happy Hanukkah, Josh.
Yeah.
Hope you enjoyed your fucking 8 days. How many days? 8 days? 8 days of presents?
You got me. I'm not Jewish. I don't know.
I think it's 8.
I don't know. I just saw a funny video with him when he was wearing over at his sister's house. It was pretty funny. He had like the footy pajamas on and shit.
Oh yeah. I saw it and then I forgot about it. Luckily, but now you just reminded me.
Let's see. Jared Bell writes in, do you think Hasbro can make a successful Transformers series without Megatron and Optimus Prime, or without the typical Ark versus Nemesis crew?
No. I do not. Listen. This isn't a personal preference. I would love to see. It's like we were just talking about Star Wars. Well, we made it through 1.99 seasons without Skywalker and the regular Star Wars crew. And it's been awesome. So I would love to see Transformers branch out and have them follow some other characters other than Optimus Prime and the Ark crew and Megatron and the Nemesis crew and all that kind of shit, knowing that they're in the universe. But I would fucking love to see it, but I don't really think that Transformer fans are open to that kind of they're just I don't think we're as open-minded, even Beast Wars had to have an Optimus Primal and a Megatron, even though they were technically not them, but they were based on them. You know what I mean? Like they, it's like no, I don't think they could do it. Would I love to see Headmasters and Victory and Master Force, like some of that shit done? So, you know what I mean? Yeah, of course, dude. I'm fucking 44 years old. I've been following the Transformers since I'm 8 years old. Like, yeah, I would love to fucking see it do other things than Optimus and Megatron all the time, of course.
I think if you had like a grandfathered type of storyline where, like how the opening of Thundercats, they always used to show, what was that guy's name? The ghost, was it Jaga?
Yeah, Jaga.
How he was always like the shadowy like ghost behind Lion-O. I think if you had like a mentorship of like Prime and like Megatron being like in the shadows, like, you know, they exist somewhere, but you have this whole new story about these new characters and new different leaders. I think if you tied it in somehow and maybe had them visit from time to time, it would work.
Right.
But you didn't necessarily need to have another amalgamation of Optimus Prime. It could be somebody different. It could be like an Ultra Magnus or something.
And Ultra Magnus or the Ultra Magnus? Are you just saying like that type of character?
Like think of it like Last Stand of the Wreckers.
Yeah.
Right. You had your Wreckers. You had your Cup, your Springer. You know, your two mainstays, and then you would have like Ultra Magnus was like, he was in charge. He was like in the background, but he wasn't really part of the whole story. He was there in the beginning and at the end. So, you know, I could see like that was a great point, you know, that story, Last Stand of the Wreckers, because they brought in characters that were hardly ever used anywhere, and they made them, you know, well known.
Yeah.
Or at least names that you remember now that were part of something. You didn't need to have the steady, you know, top 5 characters always in something, and then it worked. And I think you could do that same thing.
Team. I would follow, what was it? Whirl and Robuster, Twin Twist, Topspin, Perceptor, I think was in it. Cup, Springer.
Yep.
I would, like that would be cool. But like, man, but just the like, if this whole IDW thing that they just started this whole bold new era, which is basically a bold old era because it's like they're kind of sort of redoing a lot of things and shit. But if it would have just started out from scratch with those guys, I don't. Well, I think we would have liked it, you know. But I don't know that we can speak for the Transformers fandom in general, because I don't know that we're necessarily going with the grains on that, because like I don't know. I think we're more open minded. Like, you know how it is, man. You know, motherfuckers saw motherfuckers see shit that is flat out G1, but it's not G1 enough. You know, those people. Those people are never going to accept shit.
I don't think you're going to really have anything. Either it's going to get stale until you actually introduce something new, like new characters. You know, they did introduce stuff via people like Windblade. I mean, look at how they did the movie. The movie they did, like, that was like a hard edge for people, because they like killed your friends and family and everything that you loved about Transformers, and they brought in all these fucking characters that you either decided you were going to like or you fucking hated because of it. So yeah, and now you have,
but we accepted it. We eventually accepted it, except for Hot Rod.
But when he was in the IDW series, then he had a rebirth of sorts, because then you liked him, that character anyway. But yeah, I mean, like you have to do that. Either I'm not saying you have to kill them off. I'm just saying you have to really separate them from the rest and just kind of have a trace, you know, reference to the original.
Yeah.
And I think that'll work, but you have to be it has to be a smart story, and it has to be different, that it's still kind of familiar in the same way. Kind of like Mandalorian. He was a different character, but he still kind of reminds you of Boba Fett a little bit, you know?
Right. Yeah, right.
So, but
what's next?
Let's see. Let me pull up the shares. I know there's a few more. Here we go. Chris Bishop from the general offices of TKO. Longtime listener, first time telegrapher. Stop. Eat a bag of dicks. Stop. That is all. Stop. Signed, you know who this is.
Wait, I don't understand.
It was like a telegraph. Stop. Like how they always said stop at the end of each sentence.
Okay. Sorry. First time talk. Yeah.
So he said, let's eat a bag of dicks.
Smoke the bowl. Shout out to Chris.
Brother Kyle, this is related to our Dungeons and Dragons campaign. Any speculation on the Shadow's only weakness? Because he must die by my blade. Smiley face with sunglasses on. That's Nate's character, by the way.
Yeah.
Which they've all grown to hate, which is pretty funny. Because the last episode, they killed him, and they all decided to like piss on him and defile him. So, which was pretty fucked up. But anyway, moving on. That's a different podcast. Doors writes in, whether you collect Transformers, Marvel Legends,
Whether
Star Wars,
you collect Transformers, Marvel Legends. Go ahead, Jed. Come on, give me some doors, man.
whether you collect Transformers, Marvel Legends, Star Wars, Joe, or any other collectibles, or if you just listen to the LOLs and weird news, I want to say a big Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Cool Kwanzaa, or whatever you choose to celebrate to all the Blackout and Shout listeners, and a huge thank you to Mike, Jed, and Levy, including all the extended BNS friends and family that bring us the #1 Beast Wars podcast. It's been a truly exceptional year, and one we can all agree we are pleased to see the back of, but being around you guys, even if it's just virtually, has made life more bearable and giving me so many laughs. For that I am truly grateful. Here's hoping 2021 is kinder and healthier to everyone. Wishing you the best, be smart, and stay safe. Much love, Doors.
that was. Did you ever watch? Are you familiar with Ben's Collectibles at all?
Not really. No.
That was a. It sounded like you were channeling Doors through Ben's Collectibles right there.
Oh. I'm trying to do my best.
Yeah, he over the top British guy.
Yeah, I was trying to do my best. Swarmy, I am on the verge of being Sir Knighted. Well, thanks, Doors. That's awesome.
Shout out to Doors.
Yeah, shout out to Doors.
Oh, shout out to Tattoo Lee, by the way, too, man. It's like the Saint Eagles played the Saints this past weekend, and I don't know. No, you laugh because you think I'm going to talk shit right away. It was pretty awesome. The Eagles winning was pretty awesome, but the Eagles played the Saints, and it were the Saints, that's his team. So it's like, oh shit, man, I should hit Tattoo Lee up. But by the time I wanted to hit him up, the Eagles had already won the game, and then I'm like, he's gonna think I'm a fucking smartass now if I hit him up. Oh, would you hit me up if they would have fucking lost? But yeah. Anyways, I digress. Shout out to Tattoo Lee. I hope he's doing well.
That's a funny segue actually, because Sean messaged me and he's told me that once found out that Wentz wasn't playing, he knew they were gonna win.
Yeah, he fucking hates Wentz, man. Don't worry, it'll only be a matter of time before he hates Jalen Hurts too.
Yeah,
it's like, dude, Eagle fans are fucking insane, bro. And I'm not Sean, just Eagle fans in general. Like, it's like, dude, they got this guy in the fucking Hall of Fame already, and it's like, yo, he played one game. Relax. Everybody can have one good game. Nobody, you know what I mean? The team didn't know what to expect.
There is no gray when it comes to an Eagles fan. It's either fucking positive or negative, and that's it.
Yep. You're right.
So speaking of our friend Sean, Lori N. Sean Zupa writes, I wonder which one it is. Is it Lori or Sean?
I love when you crush him for having a joint Facebook account.
Yeah. Joint Facebook account. Anyway.
My favorite.
Crazy. He goes, what makes a cheesy horror movie a comedy instead of just a bad horror movie? Asking for a friend. And now there's some backstory on this.
I was going to say, I didn't quite understand when I saw it.
So I told him he was looking for something to watch like a couple of weeks ago. And I said, why don't you watch The Cabin in the Woods? I said, that's a great horror movie that's kind of like funny at the same time, I said, it's not like, Dumb and Dumber funny. I said, it's just, there's funny moments in it, kind of like, like Army Dead or something like that, or Evil Dead or something, kind of funny, but still a horror movie at the same time.
Right.
Dark comedy.
Like when he gets eaten by the fucking merman.
Yeah, or when he tries to jump the chasm, he fucking smashes into the fucking wall.
Oh, yeah.
Or when they try to explain the difference between this type of zombie and another type of zombie. Anyway,
the pothead is great, but yeah.
Oh yeah, it's like a whole Scooby-Doo crew. Shaggy, Fred, all of them. Anyway, so he wound up hating that movie. He hated it. He didn't like it at all. He thought it was like one of the worst movies ever. And he said there was not one thing funny about it. And I said, what's wrong with you? I said, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, that was a good movie, man.
It was a good movie.
Well, because it was, and the reason it was a good movie is because it started out as every other fucking horror movie you've ever seen in your life.
Right.
But then the whole twist with that whole scientist crew that was trying to,
right.
Well, you know the deal, but like that
Sure.
whole thing put the movie over the top. That's what made it unique.
And he liked it that it was unique like that.
Yeah.
And that, it wasn't a happy ending and stuff. He liked that part, but he thought the whole rest of the movie sucked.
Man, I thought it was
so that's why he writes in what makes a cheesy horror movie a bad horror movie. So, Sean, I'm afraid that majority of the people in the universe do not agree with you on this.
I can't hear Roll with the Changes anymore without thinking of that. Like, that's Roll with the Changes. Oh, is that REO Speedwagon?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
REO Speedwagon Roll with the Changes is now synonymous with like that whole monster murder scene, which is fucking awesome.
The fucking part when he screams at the monitor, he goes, how fucking hard is it to kill a fucking 14-year-old?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. What's wrong with you, Japan?
Yeah. Yeah, that was great, man. And then the whole I dug that movie, man. And I was like, I hated it for the first half hour until it got to the point where, like, with twists, and then it was like, holy fuck, this is great, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it was like all pre-planned.
Yeah.
So he didn't like it. So thanks, Lori Sean, for writing in. Appreciate your question and your opinion.
Ooh, 2 listeners in one.
And that's it for Q&A.
Yep. Well, Jed, it's getting close to it's quitting time.
Yeah.
You got anything you want to
just say, reiterate everything to what you said before, happy holidays, everybody. Merry Christmas, happy Hanukkah, cool as stay safe, stay smart, and I guess we'll see you guys 2 weeks from now. I guess we'll see you guys in the new year. Yeah.
The next episode would actually be on New Year's Day, right?
Well, when we record it, it'll be on New Year's Day. But it'll be released on the 4th of January. Right. And F you, John Bailey. Have a happy New Year, John.
It was the nicest thing he ever said. Fuck you, but have a nice night. Hope you get a fucking bag of shit for Christmas.
Let's see if there's an update on our intrepid explorer Levy E. Curry.
Has he posted lately?
Let's see what he's up to now. Nope, it's only he must be sleeping tonight. It's 3 hours ago. So
We'll see when we stake him out tomorrow morning. Oh shit. All right, well, I got nothing more than what you had, so I guess
any updates on the MCU at all, or the MKU? I'm sorry.
The MKU. No, there was that one moron on Instagram. He insulted the shit out of me for like 3 months straight, and then he called me a great photographer, and then insulted me after that. So then I ended it all by just thanking him for the compliment, and then I shut it down. I told him have a Merry Christmas, and I shut it down. So
cool.
He's out. He's out. It's like Ultron, He's there.
Just
he's
like us.
gone. Yep. All right. Well, that's enough's enough. We're out.